I'm running out of time. I'm running out on a feeling song. I'm running out of time.
This could be huge. Manages to find them.
It's Oceanic National Playoffs day number 1. We've been waiting all season to get to the gauntlet, and now it has arrived. We are, of course, into the busy end of the season where it all comes down to one. Who's going to walk away out of the season champions? We have got a special virtual desk here today. Of course, we've got a special guest in Vinny, and then there's Guz.
Wow, thanks for the introduction. What a way to open up the playoffs. Hopefully, Vinny's a little bit more excited than you are. Glad to have you here, and yeah, this weekend should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm incredibly excited for this. I'm a little bit disappointed, obviously. I wish I was on the other side and I was playing today and tomorrow, but you know, the perk of not playing is that I get to kick back and watch some good Siege.
It's our bonus as well to have you on and get your insight as we go through the 2 days here for the gauntlet. Let's look at those standings. You might want to look away though, Vinny, of course, for where your boys finished up 7th. Oh, that's just not it. Anyway, let's turn our attention to the top 6. I'll go to you first, Vinny, and I'll get your thoughts on how the season played out, not from a wild card perspective, but from a top 6 perspective and how things finished.
I think in the top 6, it's definitely kind of what was expected. The Knights and the Chiefs seem to be the strongest team going into the season, and the other teams that ended up rounding out the bracket ended up playing some really good Siege throughout the season. It wasn't always super consistent, but it was definitely some good Siege.
Yeah, good recovery there, Vinny. You've already been thrown under the Zenox bus about 30 seconds into the broadcast, so good little induction for you. But yeah, I would echo that statement. I think for the most part, outside of unfortunately Wildcard with their issues, the standings probably playing out pretty similar to what we expected heading in. I will say though, Team Bliss is one that really stood out as making a statement this season. Finishing 3rd is a really good accomplishment for them. And on the flip side, Order finishing 5th, probably not fully reflective of how good that team is.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head there, Guz, with that one on Order. They're a team that can very much run the gauntlet. Let's go and have a look at that graphic and see sort of what awaits them for not just today, but also for tomorrow, if they can, of course, get through day number 1. Order will have to run the gauntlet, and or Ruffle will have to run the gauntlet if they are to win the playoffs. And it's an interesting format that we've got here, Guz, of course. The first time that we've had it for OCN. It should be a lot of fun, but it really does also put emphasis on the teams that finish first and second. They, of course, wait for the matches tomorrow.
Yeah, really exciting format. As you said, the first time we've seen it in OCN, and it does position teams, unfortunately, like Order, who finished in 5th. If they want to go all the way, they're going to have to play 4 best of 3s in a row, which is going to be a really big effort for them. But on the flip side, teams like the Knights, for example, that finished 1st in the regular season, they get to sit back, watch these teams go at it, and by the time they have their opponent ready and waiting, they should be well prepped and refreshed to take that game on.
Vinny?
And yeah, I'll echo that. It's not just you know, a show of skill this weekend, it's a show of stamina. They could potentially be playing 12 maps over 2 days, which is a tall task for any team.
Yeah, it will be very difficult, and I think it also means that for next stage, teams are going to want to make sure they're not in that 5th position, for example, that they do actually get a higher seeding, and I think that's a good thing. It puts emphasis on winning your matches in the regular season. I mean, Order themselves actually had the opportunity, guys, to not be in that 5th position. Had they won their final game of the season, I think they would have been almost as high as 1st or something ridiculous like that. So they had an opportunity, let it slip, and now they're going to pay the punishment for it, guys.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, right, the team that they versed in that match is the team they versed first up in the playoffs in Ruffles. So a cheeky little matchup, a rematch, if you would, to kick things off. And Order, I mean, they've said themselves, right, Sveka in the interview, that they're apparently the best team in the region. Well, now's the time to prove that.
Yeah,
yes.
And I'd say they're a little bit disappointed in the way this season's played out. you could say they've underperformed slightly. They seem to have all the pieces of the puzzle. It just hasn't really come together this season so far.
For Rufflecopter, they of course came into this season with, well, no real expectations, Vinny. There wasn't a lot that was put on them to perform or even make playoffs, and yet they're here, I guess in a way, not as experienced, especially as their opponents today. For Rufflecopter, what do you expect from them in this gauntlet run?
I see them playing, obviously some very good Siege. They're a team that, as you said, didn't have much expectations coming into this season, but they're a team that put a lot of pressure on themselves to perform. They had a shaky kind of season, but in this format, especially in the BO3, I think they'll really thrive.
Yeah, Ruffle, heading into this season, they've already established themselves as one of the best teams in this sort of new era of Oceanic Siege. They outperformed the likes of Rhythm and LFO, who are some of the newer teams in the league. And like Vinny said, they've been playing some really solid Siege. When they are switched on, they can take it up to most teams. Their meta at the moment really suiting their playstyle. Late round executes, they're super strong. All of those players can frag out when required. And if they play that smooth Siege like we have seen throughout the season, Order could find it tricky to shut them down.
I think for Rufflecopter, yeah, they get a good opportunity here. Of course, they beat Order not too long ago. They have the chance to, of course, run the gauntlet, because I think they are a team that's capable of beating, say, teams like Bliss. Maybe not so much teams like Chiefs, though, Vinny. Is that sort of maybe the pass mark? If they can get past the Order, then beat Bliss, that you'd be okay with, say, a third finish in the gauntlet?
Yeah, I'd say Chiefs is the most informed team right now, so they're definitely the pass mark. And if you can get through Chiefs and get through Knights, then you know you can beat any team in this region for sure.
Yeah. I don't really have much to add to that. I think Vinny's summed it up really well. I'm the token analyst here. I'm not the expert. Let's remember that. Yeah, Ruffle. I don't know, but I guess could we group Order in the same sort of category as the Chiefs? Like, I feel like on paper they literally are up there, but their results just haven't been reflective of that so far.
Not recently, at least. I think you give them points or credits in the bank maybe for previous results, but in the last couple of weeks or so, they have fallen off. They've lost Ippy. Let's go and have a look at their lineup, of course, coming into the gauntlet, and it's really hard to predict. Nico comes in. How much of an impact is that for you, Vinny? Seeing Nico in, Ippy out, are they stronger? Are they weaker? Or are they about the same?
Yeah, so I was a former teammate of Nico, and I know how much impact he can have during the round, especially in the server. He's been coaching up until now. I'm sure he's done a terrific job out of the server, but when he's in there, he's a really scary addition. And you know they will struggle, I think, a little bit with the loss of the frag power of Ippy, but a player like Nico definitely has the ability to frag out. I'm kind of interested to see how he fits into the lineup with Cutie still there. I'd say Nico kind of has that same role on the vertical historically, and I'm interested to see where they put him.
Yeah, Nico, he has the X factor. He always seems to show up when required, whether it be an impact play or a good overall map, whatever the team needs, he will bring to the table. I'm not sure whether or not he'll jump into the server today and be switched on. It's been a while since he's played in an official. Difficult to know how much he's been scrimming, as he has been in that coach role, and Nate's been substituting, so maybe his playtime has been a little bit limited. But if there's any player you want to jump in a situation like that, it's Nico. And yes, they might lose some of that frag power, but they can make up for that with some creative plays, and Order, they could still be just as dangerous as they were previously.
It does feel like coming into this matchup, especially for Order, you know, as you mentioned, guys, how much playtime have they had with Nico? But then on the flip side, for Rufflecopter, you know, preparing for the playoffs, well, in this case, they have known for a little while that Ippy wasn't going to be playing, but previously when you're preparing against Order, you're playing against Order, it was Ippy. He's out, Nico comes in. It changes the dynamics for both of the teams, and it's about who can adjust better, which is the more versatile team when it comes down to it, and that's what we're going to find out in this matchup to come. And hopefully for Order, they can be a little bit more versatile than maybe they have been through the regular season. They've been quite up and down, inconsistent. Have they taken that title away, Vinny, from the Chiefs? Are they now the inconsistent team that we think of?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think Chiefs have done a good job with the addition of Fisher to become a bit more consistent, but you know, Order, as I said before, have all the pieces. They definitely have the ability. I think you know, I'd say they put pressure on themselves to win, and it just hasn't quite fallen into place at this stage. I see them to make a big return next stage for sure.
Yeah, every single player on this team has LAN experience. They have been around for a long, long time. Outside of maybe Joker, who hasn't played a LAN, unless he No, would he have? I don't know. He might have in Six Masters, but either way, this team, incredible amounts of experience, and it's really just about linking that together. And like they've said themselves, sometimes they get into their own heads, and it's not necessarily the opponent that beats them, it's more so that they beat themselves.
Let's go and have a look at the map vetoes for this matchup. Of course, best of 3, things do change a little bit. Ban, then it's pick, and then of course we get down to a decider. So Order have elected to send it over to Cafe. Consulate once again for Rufflecopter. It wasn't very long ago that we saw this matchup where it was extraordinarily one-sided, Vinny. Are you surprised that Order have allowed the Consulate to get through?
A little bit. It's definitely, if you're going off recent matches, they got basically slammed on Consulate. So obviously their thought process is that we can go back. I think the Chalet ban makes more sense. They've insta-banned it every time, so maybe they thought they're more likely to come back on Consulate and have a better map than if they would have let Chalet through. I think Cafe is the big surprise here. Going off Dev's perfectly crafted notes, which I'm now exposed to, they've banned it the last 25 times, so they've obviously been adding something on there and happy to let it through.
Yeah, that's exactly right. 25 bans in the last couple of years from Order. They have literally not played this map very much, and when they have, it's been a loss to them. So it's been an L in that column. There was a phase a while ago where they were a strong team. They sort of fell out of fashion on Cafe, and yeah, they've just not wanted to touch it at all with a 10-foot pole. So the fact that they're bringing it out here in the first match of the playoffs, something must have been cooking in the background. I don't know why you would take this risk. If it doesn't pay off, it could be a little bit embarrassing. If they don't win Cafe, honestly, there's a very real chance that Ruffle can take this 2-0 off the back of their Consulate form.
I love this little graphic head-to-head on the map. It's a bit of a shame, though, that in terms of times played, it's 0 and 1. So there's not a lot of information that you can necessarily take from this, especially for Cafe individually. But I guess the one thing I do want to ask, though, moving forward in this matchup is which map, if you had to pick, Vinny, is going to decide this series, because it is a best of 3. Like, who needs to win which map? Is this Cafe map super important? Like, if Order lose this Cafe, do they lose again on Consulate and it's a quick 2-0?
Yeah, I think series-wise, the first map is going to be huge. I think, Order haven't shown it for a long time. If they don't come out with something new and fresh, I think Ruffle will mop the floor with them, and then Consulate will be much the same. In terms of over the weekend, I think Ruffle need to make a lot of 2-0 performances as well to make sure that their stamina is up and they don't burn out too quick.
Yeah, and even looking past Cafe, if it does go to the third map in Oregon, it's not like that's painting a much brighter picture at all for Order, right? Ruffle have played it twice in the regular season. They beat Rhythm and they beat the Knights, which is a pretty good performance as well. On the flip side, Order have been losing to Rhythm, Giants, Bliss. So it's not like the third map is by any means locked in for Order. So I think Ruffle have played the map veto really well, and Order, honestly, they have their backs against the wall a little bit just based off what we know heading into this match.
What was once a good map, I reckon, of course, for Order now is a bit of an anomaly. We're not entirely sure. Do we see this third map though, Vinny? Do you expect this to go to all 3 maps?
Well, in my prediction, I actually put Order off the bat. That was before the vetoes. Now I'm not quite sure. I think we will see a third map. I think Ruffle have a tendency to come out of the gates a bit slow, and I think Order will capitalize on that and will probably take the first map, and then I think Ruffle will take the rest of the series.
Yeah, I'm just going to straight up say it now. Ruffle 2-0. I don't know what, unless Order have done something absolutely wild on Cafe and it's somehow an amazing map for them now. I honestly just don't see it, right? Because Consulate was a shocker for them in the last play day. Keep in mind that match actually counted for something. Like, Order were going hard in that match. Don't get that wrong. So if Cafe is disastrous for them, I don't think it's going to get any better for Order.
Well, as you can see on your screens down below is the Snowball Expert panel prediction, including Vincere as well, who's helped me and Ducky out by selecting Order. The majority of the, quote, expert panel has elected to go for Rufflecopter. Not overly surprising, though, Vinny, and I think that also is reward for Rufflecopter having a good season, and of course, having beaten Order recently, but surely Order are going to bite back. Surely they're going to respond here.
I mean, it's another tough ask because they've got a new player in Nico. He hasn't played with the team. I doubt he's been practicing much with the team as well. So it's kind of a new kind of new team that we're looking at. Even though the team is mostly the same, that kind of dynamic is very different, with one player difference for sure.
Yeah, when I did my predictions, I honestly thought that Ruffle was going to be the underdog from the experts, just due to the prestige of the Order organization, the bucket load of experience that all the players on Order have. But I mean, we all seem pretty confident in Ruffle, and the map veto for me has only validated that. I would have said that even if I had have, like Vinny predicted Order before the veto, honestly, I would have probably flip-flopped after the veto. Ruffle, I think, are in a really good position.
They certainly are in a really good position. Heading into the best of 3, though, anything can happen, especially in OCN, especially when it comes to playoffs. Both teams will begin their journey of running the gauntlet here and now in this first best of 3. And to introduce you to the playoffs, of course, it is going to be Dev and Manic.
That may well have been the nicest throw you have ever given me, Xenox. Can we just take a quick moment? Vinny, what a phenomenal job on the desk for the very first time. Mate, you absolutely nailed that. So, we can move on from that, because guess what? Vinny, unfortunately, Wildcard are out. You're still in, technically. But one team that is well in the race right now is most definitely Rufflecopter, Dev.
It certainly is, and I think that Guz hit the nail on the head there. Like, you feel like Order should be the favored team, and predicting Ruffle should be a kind of upset, but it actually has gotten to the point now where we are actually so convinced of Rufflecopter that they have taken the popular vote among us quote-unquote experts, and Order are the ones with something to prove.
They certainly are. They've got it all to prove. They had the opportunity to knock out Ruffle in that final play day to propel themselves to the top position of OCN. They failed to do so, and now they must play once more. It is time to head to Cafe to decide the very first map of our best of 3 here in the playoffs for Oceanic Nationals.
And what is super exciting about Cafe being picked is something that Vinny highlighted in the pre-show, which is the fact that this is a map that Order do not like. They have banned it for so long, and you have to go all the way back to August last year, the last time Order played Cafe, and at that time it was actually one of their favorite maps. And then, they lost it a couple times and they removed it from their map pool. Ever since then, they ban it every single play day. And then coming out of the gate here, Rob, like, they pick it in this best of 3. A massive surprise, no doubt, to Rufflecopter, who would have looked at Order and been like, well, there's no way you're going to pick Cafe. Maybe this is the chance that Order can have something, bring something new to the table, a bit surprising, and show off some of the stuff that they've been working on in scrims.
That's the thing, right? There's so many possibilities here. You look at what the storylines that are coming in for Order. Ippy Style out, who's been phenomenal all season long. Nico in, who is just a nutty player and someone that could really cause some ruckus, especially on a map like Cafe. But, all history points to Order with a very peculiar little pick. Now, don't forget as well, OJ, you better not be doing that. You better not be sticking that, because I tell you what.
I feel like surely the Blackbeard here is, it's just a tilt. It's just trying to tilt the other team. Like, hello, by the way, don't peek, because we are going to have a shield in front of our face. But no, it's the Nomad pick coming through, which is a really good one. Obviously, Nomad suppresses a lot of that aggression. For example, let's say it's this top floor objective. You take control of Piano, and you put an air jab on the Piano door at Pixel, and then the defender just cannot retake Piano. They have a hard stop. Otherwise, they're obviously going to go flying and be an easy kill. So I really like that pick there from OJ. Suppressing that aggression that we actually know Order are quite a big fan of.
That they are. They can be a little bit hard to keep tabs on at the best of times. So I think this match will highlight that in particular. Now the Snap Fitness community vote, ladies and gentlemen, have Order out in front by just a small margin, 10%. I mean, no shocks there, Dev, if we were looking at the names, you'd say?
Yeah, I think that in terms of the size of the communities behind these organizations, Order is obviously one of the largest esports clubs in Australia, and Rufflecopter is, Rufflecopter. So it makes sense. But of course, there is that extra layer to it, and Order not quite in the hot form that they've been looking for. They actually ended up second last in APAC South League alongside Wildcard. And of course, didn't do too hot here in OCN, losing already to Rufflecopter. So, Obviously, once you look into it, we do feel like Rufflecopter is the favored team here, but we know Order has the potential to win this, right? Like, they've always been a top 3 team in OCE.
Yep, and there's never been a doubt in that conversation, in all honesty. They have always been the story of the bridesmaids, you know. Chiefs, we've always put Chiefs and Order in similar positions here, but Campo putting himself in a great position. How does Nico win that out? Well, welcome to the server, and I'm sure Order will not be happy with that start. Sorry, Roffle will not be happy with that start, I should say. But Nico, that's a great way to get comfortable early on.
Oh, certainly is a warm welcome. He's been sitting on the bench for quite some time. Of course, his most recent playing experience was on that Melon Cat roster, the former Noble guys, which disbanded just before this season of OCN and APAC South. And since then, you know, he joined Order. Being in that coaching role is not something he's familiar with, but it's nice to see him back in the server. And of course, there is a reply there halfway through the round. Rufflecopter start to swing things around. My God.
God.
And Order start to fall apart.
Wow, that looked like an attempted run out, if I'm not mistaken, there by Order, and Rufflecopter have been able to execute that perfectly. So now, this is not the story I thought we'd be telling, especially after that opening pick going the way of Nico. Specker looking for the contact. And once more, it is Rufflecopter going to work. A 1v3. They well and truly know his position as he goes flying back through the soft wall. And Dev, just not achievable here in the first round, surely.
Very hard retake for a number of reasons. Firstly, Joker's running the FO12 shotgun. A great weapon in close ranges, but as soon as Rufflecopter are taking these long angles, for example, right here, Joker's just going to lose his head. Absolutely no chance. So difficult to retake upstairs on Cafe as a defender once you've lost control of that top floor. You've just got to funnel through those staircases. And a good opening round here for Ruffle.
Yeah, you'd be very happy with that. 3 players left alive, and I think it's more so how they were able to really flip the coin there. You know, we were singing the praises of Nico winning that fight out onto Campo, who was pushing in quite aggressively. And, I mean, all those kills came off camera just then. Like, every single one of them. So we have absolutely no idea on where they've come from, but you know full well that Ruffle, that's the start they would have been hoping for. That's the start they were looking for, and a statement, in my eyes, has definitely been made.
Certainly has, especially losing that opening pick to bounce back, and effectively they put it in a 4v1 with a whole minute left on the clock. So a great response there from Rufflecopter. A shout out to Marshall, who's on OBS today as well. I'd like to give a shout out to our observers. So if he misses a kill, you know who to blame on Twitter.
Wow. Xenox.
I love you, Marshall.
Xenox, is that you? My word, you have well and truly just taken that bloody bus license right out of his hands. So let's very quickly bring that note back. Marshall, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry my co-caster has done this to you. We are on the first floor in Kitchen. And of course, as per usual, we are seeing Order with a little bit more of an aggressive play style. I feel like you don't really have an opportunity to not roam, at least for the first 20 seconds, to ensure that Rufflecopter do their due diligence. And it looks like they may be doubling down on that with that.
Oh, there's a rush!
Oh my God, Dev, go for it.
Oh, they just go straight into the bomb site and they catch Order off guard. Somehow, though, Order start to recompose here, Rob, and now there's no diffuser for Rufflecopter.
You know what? I think the highlight for me there is the fact that Order haven't reinforced that, oh my God, that fireplace hatch, and that allowed them to kind of catch them pushing through Freezer there. What on earth is this round? Honestly, if you were looking at this right now, you would definitely think the Rufflecopter are the defenders. In fact, no, you've been completely debated. Now, where that diffuser is, if that's out by the tables, I think that's going to be in a very awkward position, but they managed to pick it up. And they can go back through Freezer. They have plenty of time, Dev. This is really dangerous for Order.
It certainly is. Now that Bouncing's back on site with the diffuser in hand. Nico Cutie and Specker to retake, separated. They're going to have to win these ones, and Specker starts it strong. OJ goes down. Specker finds another one, 3K, and the Specker with the quad! And the retake for Order is perfect.
Where did that come from, Specker? What? have I just seen? Those were so clean. Oh, that's not a good sign for Rufflecopter. I mean, look, granted, I love the call from Rufflecopter. That caught me unaware, and I'm sure it caught Order somewhat unprepared. The fact that they were able to retake that in a 3v3 scenario, I mean, you can well and truly hold your heads high from Specca's point of view. So they caught him reinforcing.
Yeah, JackDad didn't finish his side prep. He was still reinforcing the freezer wall. And Rufflecopter took advantage of that in the best way possible. Very clearly, during the preparation phase, Ruffle had droned out that wall, seen that it was soft, and seen that all these reinforcements and roamers were going upstairs. And so Rufflecopter said, hey, we got Boydie running Buck. We can make mincemeat of that wall without a couple of seconds. And funnily enough, it did happen to be the exact moment JackDad was reinforcing it. So not only did Boydie get the wall, but he got JackDad as well.
Wow. Wow, we're gonna start really well here. We are kick-starting with a bang. There we go, Dev. The words came out of my mouth eventually, but I am well and truly invested because, Order, yeah, we've known them to be a little bit more sporadic, a little bit more of an aggressive team. Rufflecopter, though, if there's one team that can match that, it is most certainly them. They have really shown to be quite a versatile, aggressive, dangerous team at the best of times. And I think no matter what we're seeing from Order on this defensive half, Rufflecopter will completely change it up when we do swap sides. For now, though, we can definitely set our sights onto the third floor as Rufflecopter will... I mean, if I were them, I wouldn't even be thinking about that last round. That was a gnarly attempt.
Well, it's the thing I love about watching these two teams. They're both incredibly aggressive and incredibly proactive teams. If they see an opportunity, they just get a gun for it straight away without any hesitation whatsoever. And of course, both teams filled to the brim with incredibly mechanically talented players. So we are going to see a lot of multi-kills like we just saw from Specca. And sometimes it is nice shots like that that really change the round. But of course, opening it up here, Rufflecopter for a very similar kind of roam clear. Now, Nico started this strong last time with the first pick. Let's see if Ruffle can clear the roam.
Looks like they may be given an opportunity here. Bouncing, it's always awkward. Do you step on the barbed wire? Do you go to hit it? That's going to initiate a little bit more of an aggressive play from JackDaddy. Just baiting out the shots, but what so far? Oh my word. Boydie, where have you died from? JackDaddy's still holding the line. This is not the greatest start from Ruffle, but that's what we needed to see. Concussed as well, still finds the kill, and it's a 1-for-1 trade.
Nico's still alive though as Bouncin starts to move up these stairs. There's a good crossfire established. I believe that's Specca in reading as well to support. And it's going to be hard for Bouncin. There you go. Great shot potential here for Spec. We've already seen him so good with that Roni. Nice angle, bit of an off position. Cutie might even have a vertical angle from above White Stairs. So this is very difficult now for Bouncin as Joker elsewhere off screen managed to find a kill with the FO12. I believe that was in shop. And here we go, Bouncin being live droned in. He knows he's about to walk into the crossfire and needs to land the shots. He gets the first one.
No.
Specca cannot refrag.
No way. How has he gotten away with murder there? That is absolutely ridiculous. And now Specca may well be caught out and forced to rotate back around red, but they're just... I mean, Specca is just going to have to play and wait for the right time to finally come back up those stairs. Now, with that information, that'll be Joker rotating into Cigar in behind the shield, Dev. Two players on the other side, and they're just waiting for their time.
Oh, this is a 2K for Joker. No two ways about it. Hot shot. How do you win that? You are not meant to win those. And now Rufflecopter, their remaining players flood the site. And this 2v2, Campo knows he needs to find this kill. Plant starting to go down. There's one for Campo. And that's the diffuser on the ground. Specca might clutch this again. But the knife. LOL.
No way. That is absolutely outrageous. This is the start we wanted to OCN, Dev. Our prayers have been heard and they have been answered. What are we seeing right now? It all kick-started with Joker. You thought that should have been the hold, the shotgun in an amazing position like that. There was no chance to get rid of that deployable shield. He gets aggressive, gets caught. But like Specker to even be in the realm of a 2v1 in that spot, I mean, my word, this has just started us off on the right note.
This is exactly the kind of high-octane siege that we were hoping for out of these teams. You know, we've already said the play styles lean into it, the players are leaning into it, they've warmed up, and straight out of the gate, they're bringing everything that they've got.
I still can't believe I saw a knife kill.
Yeah. I think Specker pointed out in the chat, it was knife versus fist. Of course, Aruni's got that bionic arm.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't knife, she just gives a good punch right in the face. But in this case, the knife does ring true and win out.
I think there's some kind of joke about bringing a spoon to a knife fight.
Bring a bionic arm to a knife fight, I guess.
We'll leave it on that. So, looks like reading will be the preference here for Order. Not very often we see the mining defense. So, I mean, that's no real shock horror there. I guess the big alarming point for us right now is generally that top floor that we see more so success on the defensive side has not been won yet by Order. Both attempts they've had in the first round and the third round have been to little to no avail. So,
yeah, at least that second time defending Bar Cocktail was close, a 1v1. But this time around, of course, Order, as you say, going to reading. I like the setup, though. It's like going to Bar Cocktail. They can defend Cocktail, but of course, after they feel the pressure, they just drop down and defend downstairs. Really good setup. Quite aggressive here. Nico's dropped down. He's got some good vertical angles. I love the Syria gates as well, especially for the Cocktail setup upstairs. Lots of reinforcements. And the Syria gate plus ADS is supporting the shield position that the Joker had set up. I believe that's the Wamai of Cutie playing at the moment upstairs. Didn't quite catch exactly which one it was. But here you go. This nice shield set up. Cutie's just on his cameras. And this is definitely going to take a lot from Roffle to clear. Like, you look at all that. There's Wamai magnets, plus there's 3 ADSs, plus the Aruni gate. Like, surely there's no way you just util burn through that.
oh, I mean, look at the side of Roffle, they do have the opportunity to. They have, what's that, 6, 8, 10. Don't ever do live math, but it is 10 projectiles before the drones. It's, yeah, they've actually got a lot for this specific round, which I feel like we haven't seen a lot. Well, we haven't seen it needed a lot of this season, which will definitely make things a little bit more interesting, Dev.
But they might not even go for it. Like, you look at where Rufflecopter is starting to set up, and they've taken control of mining. They've taken Piano, but they're not actually looking to mount a push. And Hotshot with Diffuser goes to Pillars. I really like the amount of ground that Roffle is covering, but the problem is just not taking that top floor does leave them really vulnerable in that end game to that vertical play.
Who's that on the red stairs? Who's that coming up behind them? Someone looking to play a little bit more cheeky. It's Nico. He now has control of T2 red stairs. It looks like, I don't think Rufflecopter are aware of it. Dev, this could dismantle Rufflecopter in one quick swift move. He's going to be able to find the first kill. Is there any more information? He'll back away. The one and done enables a little bit more chaos with 30 seconds left. Bounce and tries to re-aggress. Nico with a massive flank plays dividends, and that will run away for Order, my word.
What a round from Nico. We've talked about him being that creative, that cheeky player who pulls off things that you just don't see every day, and that's exactly what he did there. It takes a lot of guts to go for a flank like that, and we didn't see whether Rufflecopter had set up flank watch drones or air jabs. Of course, they brought the Nomad for that purpose, but for whatever reason, it was either not deployed or Nico somehow managed to bypass it or take it out, which is a massive. And to his credit, not only did he find that first pick onto the ace, which in itself is massive because it's the diffuser down and also the only hard breach gone from Rufflecopter, but then Nico falling back managed to find another pick on the player attempting to refrag, and then upstairs he caught the final one as well. So a massive round, and it just goes to show, like, this man was wasted on the bench.
Yes, yes, and maybe coming to fruition with Itby Style now leaving. I just assume I didn't get to read the tweet longer in full. I saw the tweet longer come in and it was blah blah blah, I'm back, blah blah blah, you know, something along those lines. And I just assume that it means that NiKo may well be stepping into the full-time position once more. So if that is the case, I do really feel fear, I should say, for the opponents of Order. I mean, you know, Vinny was talking about it on the desk, the fact that he's played with NiKo before, and he is just an unbelievable player, not just in terms of his mechanics and his game knowledge, but he's just someone that can completely turn the tides of a match. So far, it's living up to its expectations. We are going back down to that kitchen defense once more, and Order opting for another third floor roam.
Yeah, I like this. It's the same strategy that, of course, Rufflecopter rushed last time. Now, Order won this defense on the back of the 3v3 retake, which is really just thanks to Specker landing 3 really nice shots. But I think, for all intents and purposes, like, strategically, Rufflecopter won that round because of the rush. Obviously not the kind of thing you can do twice. So they will try and take the map, which is very difficult when you're going up against the Mute and the Mozzie. It's just going to be so difficult to get information. I mean, you look at the first point of contact for the attack, which will be Cigar Shop. There's already a Mute Jammer there, so I have to invest some time and utility to clear that. Jack Daddy's actually got a vertical angle, I believe, looking to Piano, so it does make it quite difficult now for Rufflecopter. Oh, no, sorry, Jack Daddy was all the way down in Bakery. Never mind that, but still, regardless, it's quite a difficult position for Rufflecopter to try and clear that entire map and then have enough time.
Well, time is of the essence, so certainly one thing that we're going to need to keep an eye on throughout the entirety of this matchup. Right now, Rufflecopter have cleared that top floor with that minute 30. Give and take, they definitely need to get a move on to that second floor, because I think if we see there, how many players do we have on the second floor right now, Marshall? Still quite a few, so this is really dangerous, and they're actually going to be hard holding. So this is going to be incredibly difficult when push comes to shove if they don't get a move on.
And look at that, Order just retreats all the way back down. Specker really felt the heat there, firstly to the vertical player and then to players such as Hotshot making their entries, but NiKo, Specker, and JackDad all retreated back to site. Leaving just 50 seconds now for Rufflecopter to finish clearing off the second floor, which they still haven't done, right? But then they've got to go and start actually getting to work on this vertical play. Hello, that's a C4. That's a hunk of damage done to these players on the attacking side, and this is really where things become difficult, Rob. You look at Rufflecopter's position, they haven't found an advantage in terms of the man count. In fact, they are now in a deficit, and they're just lacking information, and most importantly, time.
Yeah, Cutie's going to be playing close to Freezer as well, which is going to make that drop incredibly difficult. Nade's not going to find absolutely anything. 15 seconds, my goodness. They have no time to make this work. Surely Cutie can sit and hold. It's OJ to find one pick. They try to line him up. Somehow Rufflecopter have forced their ways in. And Campo, he can hold.
Winnable.
Taking down one. And he's going to get up the diffuser.
Oh my God!
Looking. How is that open? Jack Daddy. So close. My God, they look what? Dev.
Oh my God! Hotshot throwing the Salmon instead of switching to his pistol. Brother, that could have been the sickest play you've ever seen from Hotshot. They had no idea he planted dishes. They must have thought he was over at a coffee at the back or like planting bomb. They did not check the angle. If he had a full magazine there on the AK-12, that would have been a round for Rufflecopter, but that's essentially another contest between these two teams that ends up in a 1v1. He ran out, he throws the Selma.
He threw a Selma.
I think that we actually have the caster reaction cams going along from production as well.
Oh,
so I need to really be careful with what kind of a facial expression I'm making during these rounds.
Oh, okay. Can we just admit that the first 5 rounds of Siege that we have seen in the Oceanic National Playoffs are some of the most mental rounds we've seen all season long. These are coming down to, like you said, Dev, 1-on-1s, 2-on-2s. I am living for the action that we have here on Cafe in our very first best of 3 in our gauntlet format. Mind you, for those just joining us that weren't here in the pre-show, it is the gauntlet. You literally Order, if they want to take out the OCN title for stage 1, they have to defeat 4 teams back to back to back. And I mean, I guess it's the same for Rafflecopter, right? It's no different. But it's just, you know, the stamina is going to be such a big thing that we talk about.
Yeah, and it's not just the fact that they have to go through and be, you know, firstly, it'll be whoever wins this game, of course, then playing against the winner plays Bliss, the winner of that then plays Chiefs, the winner of that then plays Knights. So for one of these teams to take home the championship, like you're saying, it's a marathon to run. But what's more, that's also, oh my God, Jack Dad, that is some parkour right there.
Parkour!
But also on top of that, oh, here we go. This is the cheekiest thing I have ever seen. I bet you Nico showed them this. 100% this was Nico's doing right here.
Oh, man. That's gnarly.
He can see the reading door. That is just disgusting.
And, oh, like, I mean, unless he's droned out like that, there's not really... Surely you could not foresee that as you're making a push in. But, okay, very quickly. 2 minutes have been wasted here, Dev. 2 minutes, I say, a minute have been wasted. And Joker's still holding
perfect
in that cigar. And as you said, there goes the shield. But Cutie's here to support as well. They need to be very cautious.
That was just so good. For the first time, Rafflecopter actually looked to address the hard hold that Order are doing. And it works out perfectly. I mean, it took half the round, but you get a pick and you clear out that util. Has used up a lot of the util, though, that Rafflecopter has. Like, no more smokes from Hotshot, no more flashes from OJ, and no more nades from Campo. Does make you a bit concerned, but there's still plenty, I think, here to get the job done.
Comes down to how hard Order can hold right now. They are setting themselves up for a very decent first half of Cafe, all things considered. We were sitting on the desk asking questions from them, and they've slowly but surely answered them bit by bit. Needed to be a little bit more convincing, and right now, with Joker down, no pressure on that cigar side. Rafflecopter have the pick of the lot, but time will wither away very quickly.
Surely it's possible for Rafflecopter to go for a bins plant here. I think taking Cocktail is going to be the hardest thing. Those entrenched defenders will just be impossible to take out. Nice breaching charge from Bouncin, gives him a bit more mobility around that corner. And plant's starting to go down. Bouncin needs to cover this. The player at Cocktail loses the fight out to Bouncin. Jack Daddy has absolutely no way of doing it. That was a perfect plant. Now the retake must be on.
Oh, Nico! My God! How does he find both kills there? Has he just made this doable for Order? Mind you, last round of the half. Nico now taking point, taking charge. But Rafflecopter, they're sitting pretty. They're so deep right now. This is near impossible with Campo up there. Order are going to have to hit some gnarly shots. Nico may just have to stick this. Campo's got it covered every day of the week, surely. Just like that. Rafflecopter have been able to find the very last round and a half, and we even it out 3-3. Well, it's pretty much starting afresh here in the second half with both teams equaling out on 3 round wins. The big note for me, Dev, Order's top floor defense, their Cocktail defense, Not one attempt was successful out of all 3 times.
Not sure whether that's a credit to Rufflecopter's attacks for that bar cocktail or perhaps just a weakness of Order's own defenses of that site. I feel like if Order were aware that their defenses of bar cocktail weren't very strong, then they wouldn't have picked it like 3 times, you know? Like they wouldn't have gone to it first. They would have gone and went to kitchen first, maybe reading, but no, they were insistent on trying to defend bar cocktail as much as possible. But as it stands, that's a good half there from Rufflecopter. I think that for a minute we were thinking Order could run away 4-2. And at that point, I would be pretty confident in their chances here. But keeping in mind, right, this is Order's map pick and a map that we haven't seen them play in a very, very long time. August was the last time Order played this, and since then it's been their insta-ban.
Yeah.
Which means that, you know, clearly they saved this map for a rainy day. This has been in their scrim program for quite some time, but they didn't bring it out until just now. And for that reason, you know, we gave Order the benefit of the doubt and thought, okay, well, they're probably going to win this map. Despite that, our expert panel still favored Rufflecopter to win the series.
Look, it's a very... okay, it's hard to call, but with the way Rufflecopter have played in that first half, they've set themselves up really nicely as we head to the defense. Now, mind you, we play Consulate after this, Dev. Consulate, the map that we saw Rufflecopter absolutely rip Order apart on the last playday. What do you... Why is that a thing? Please run away.
Okay.
But in all honesty, this is the really concerning thing for Order right now. Their campaign could be done and dusted if they are unable to convert this map.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like, not only do Order like have the favor from us on this map, considering that this has been hidden from them for a long time, but they need to win this map because map 2 is Consulate, as you said. Rufflecopter defeated Order 7-2 during the season on that very map, so we don't hold much hope for Order should it come to that second map. And Order's hope really to win this series is to win this map, lose Consulate, and then go and win the decider.
Trust
shots
Nico.
here.
Oh, man, trust Nico to hit a gnarly shot like that. Unfortunately, it doesn't connect on the head, rather just the shoulder. Really nice nade from Cutie. Order have been known for their C4s and explosive devices. Speaking of explosive, I believe that... Oh, my... What on earth? Hello?
What? They just walked straight into the meat grinder, I think, and that long line of sight straight into the 416 Cutie in a 1v3. There's no way this is going to happen. Bouncing looking for his fourth. Doesn't quite land it yet, but Cutie's just about dead man walking. Campo finishes him off, and Rufflecopter take the lead for the first time.
Now, this is the massively concerning thing for Order. That defense looked rock solid on the 3rd floor for Rufflecopter. Granted, we can definitely talk about Bouncing's unbelievable 3K there. I still think, though, it's dangerous times ahead. The roster that we've had so much hope for so long. And also, I don't think that we shouldn't be too quick. Okay, very quickly, let's just talk about this. Mute, Vigil, Mozzie, they are going to be an absolute menace in burning that time. You'll just watch it slowly chip away. I know Order are pretty aggressive. I know they're happy to not necessarily dry peak, but they are definitely happy to be taking their ones. But even then, there is so much that Rufflecopter have going for them in this instance.
They certainly do at that. I really like the pick here of the Echo as well. It was 6 picked onto instead of the Kaid, and I do wonder, is that actually reinforcing this? Typically when you go for a heavy roam setup, you leave that hatch soft and then retreat through it once you've satisfied that you've wasted enough time, which is what we saw Order doing. It's actually kind of strange to me here that Rufflecopter is reinforcing that hatch and then still doing seemingly a hard roam hold. It means that should Order just focus on the site, it's actually more difficult for Rufflecopter to then get back to the objective to support their anchors.
I think Vigil was just spotted out. I didn't actually get to see whether Boydie was using his cheeky masking or not. I'm pretty sure he was spotted, so...
Either you get spotted, you know, and they know there's a Vigil because they see you, or you use your ability and they know there's a Vigil because they see the fuzz.
Very true.
There's
Very
no
true.
way Order won't know what the play is here. Like, they'll know that this is a heavy roam. It's just about figuring out the best way to address that.
I've definitely lost the plot. Just ignore me altogether. This is why you're the color, and you bring all the hype.
That's it. I really like the Echo pick here. I feel like the strat overall from Ruffle is to delay time. Like, you've got the roam, which of course is going to delay time. Eventually, Boydie and Campo will die, right? But then, even when that happens, Order will go in and the hatch won't be open. They'll still have to hard breach that. And then eventually, when they do go to execute, OJ will have the Echo as well to then deny plant. So it seems like every piece, every ingredient in this defense is put together to try and waste Order's time.
I'm reloading.
Just as we potentially foreshadowed, Order not wasting too much time in taking that top floor control. They were able to push back Campo decently early there. Now they just need to be careful of that early contact on the tier 2 white stairs. Campo continues to fold back, whereas the rest of Rufflecopter, as far as I'm concerned, have they given up that second floor right now? Looks like potentially they've got 1 or 2 players just sitting and holding for a while longer. Boydie, the longer he can hold up here, the more time he can waste, the more dangerous this gets.
Honestly, I think Boydie just plays to die on this roam at this point.
Yeah.
No need to get back to site here. Eventually he will die, and Order will then start to try and convert the execute, but I think that pre-execute will take too long. Boydie might even find a pick. Like, if he finds a pick, he's more than done his job. Oh, he takes out the Yana device and is refragged on the back of it, but Jack Dad is so low HP, and Order have 50 seconds to get to work here. Hatch still reinforced, so there is so much work for Order to do.
I mean, they've only got the Selma charges to open that, so they won't have everything that they're going to need. Nico, once again, there is something about him on the buck that just terrifies everyone.
Especially because the DMR. I mean,
Yep.
who else but Nico runs that DMR? He loves it so much.
And especially for a site like this, Dev, where there's so much potential to open up lines of sight, to slow things down. You could really do some damage. There we go. Everything's starting to open up now. Just as I say that, Campo, he may well be the savior here, but Cutie's quick to respond. They still have red stairs control. Order, they're just running out of time.
Oh
We
my
still
God.
have the chance to hold this. 2 seconds left in the round. OJ just needs to stay alive, and just like that, Rufflecopter have won 2 on the trot.
I feel like Rufflecopter will be very happy with how that defense worked out. You could see from the get-go they were trying to waste Order's time, and even though their roamer didn't find a kill, there was only 50 seconds left by the time Order was actually getting to work. They didn't find any picks through that vertical play because they were so lacking on time, and it does take quite a while to actually find picks through the vertical. You have to kind of apply some horizontal pressure as well and get those defenders to move around to finally find picks. Order couldn't do that, and while there were some good entries from players like Cutie, it just was not enough, especially considering OJ didn't feel the need to move whatsoever from Bakery. In the late round, he's got 2 Yokais up. Even in a 1v2, like, Order can start trying to get that plant down, and OJ will just roll up one of those Yokais and win the round on time by denying that diffuse plant. So really great stuff from Rufflecopter, and at this point, they're starting to run away with the game.
And this is what all the analysts, all the casters have been worried about. The second we saw Cafe picked, you know, we were theorizing what was really the idea, the intent behind going to this map after, what, 25 straight bans, I think you've said, Dev, from your God tier match tracker. So this was really, there were so many questions coming into this. Ipistyle gone, Nico in, all of it just kind of coming together into a questionable pick, and now Rufflecopter are taking them to town. Now, it's only the first 2 rounds of the second half, but so far, I think we've seen such a strong case on the 3rd floor and 1st floor defense that regardless of whether they win reading or not, I think Rufflecopter have just put themselves in the best possible position.
Yeah, if you do the simple maths and you assume that Rufflecopter won't win reading, but they will go back and win cocktail. Oh no, the Frostmat, bro! And of course it's Specker who just walks into it, didn't even vault through the window. That is a facepalm if I've ever seen one, but they do finally kill Frost herself. That's bouncing. At least that's something.
Yeah, now, I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing at
I
that.
just love that it was Specker. Of course it was.
Of all people, and like you said, it wasn't even the vault into the window. And now they're going to be cautious on where the rest of these Frost mats, oh my goodness, are placed. I believe there was one on the 3rd floor, just on the other side of one of the bars. So I don't know whether Order are going to walk into that necessarily, because they are starting to put the pressure into Fireplace, which is very rarely seen to be the side of...
C4, C4.
Yeah, whereabouts? Not good
Just
enough.
did
Not
not
good enough.
work. Yeah, OJ didn't quite have the up-to-date information there by the time he ripped the C4. It didn't work. And here comes the execute from Order, planting right on the boundary, but OJ can surely floorbang this. Hotshot comes through and denies that plant with a C4, no doubt guided by OJ's information from below. This vertical play has worked wonders for Rufflecopter.
There is not a single player on that 2nd floor for Rufflecopter right now. As Hotshot makes his way back up, he'll be found. Boydie, though, found himself in a good position. And now, with OJ creeping in behind, how much information do Order have on this? There's not a
what
sight
a
to be
shot.
seen, but Nico once more is stepping up for Order. And with 45 seconds, my word, Order just have so much time in the bank. Boydie's going to get caught in the rotate through the hatch, and that's a much more convincing round, and one that we have needed to see from this roster.
I was definitely worried there for Order. Their desire to just push straight through Train and into Fireplace for their execute, it's fairly risky. It's something we talked about in the first half, right? Like, if you're not going to take top floor, you're always not biting off a lot of the map and then vulnerable to flanks. And while Rufflecopter did find the first couple kills there, denying the defuse plant, Order just had a great job at recomposing. They're like, all right, well, one of our players died, but that's fine. We'll just go walk over, grab that diffuser back up. We still have so much time left on the clock that can keep burning down. We just grab that diffuser, move somewhere else, and they're 1 C4 down now, so they have to retake. They have to take those risks, and Order held out really well to prevent that retake.
It's one thing I think that we haven't really seen a lot of, at least we haven't highlighted a lot of in the current meta with the way things are working. You know, we're not so heavily into the projectile denials. Of course, we still bring them, but it's not as much of a highlighted point as you can see. Jaeger and Might both being brought this time. It just doesn't seem to be as much of an issue, meaning that, you know, you can actually, as an attacker, do that, Dev. You know, you can push into Fireplace and fake the plant, look for the C4s, try to bait out the time, because there's not as much utility in your way when you get there. And I feel like it's been highlighted in the gunplay especially, but certainly in that round, I think it was the perfect example, just showing us what you can do if you leave yourself enough time.
Yeah, and you know, we can talk about utility all day, but I think the number one most important thing in Rainbow Six is teammates and working well with your teammates. And I think both of these teams have demonstrated that so far. For example, even though OJ, who was playing the Pulse last round, missed his own C4, he then helped Hotshot get a C4 kill. And then even though Order were a couple players down, they denied that retake because they communicated effectively to make sure that they were covering every possible avenue that Rufflecopter could have made a retake from. So teammates and team play always wins over everything else.
So what you're saying is teamwork makes the dream work.
It certainly does.
Alrighty, Jack Daddy at the moment, he's pushed quite aggressively here, and OJ just giving him a little bit of a tickler, a little bit of a response, but that's what we needed to see. Down goes OJ, and with it, the only C4 on the side of Rufflecopter. And I don't mind that from Rufflecopter. They've really tried to go all in there and find the trade. Eventually, Bouncing's one to at least gain something from that encounter.
No, I think that the ever-present aggression from Rufflecopter, never letting Order just take some map control for free, I think that's a good play. What are these smokes for, though? Surely this isn't an execute. In fact, it is. Dropped down from Skylight. Going all the way deep. Joker solo HP. The pre-fire from Nico. He gets a triple. Finally, there is some kind of a response, but Bouncing has it all to do.
There's one player you don't want to be seeing in this position, and it is Bouncing. He's been incredibly sharp. And as he makes his way back in, it seems like there's a bit of intel. Joker goes down, he swings wide, he's caught by the Cigar player, and it makes it all too easy for NiKo to close out. What a call that was, Dev. Throw the smokes, yeet over the skylight, and send it onto site. Once again, highlighting what on God's earth has NiKo been doing in his time off, because he is looking as sharp as he ever has.
He certainly has, and we got to see a couple of those kills come through. I love the fact that Order are executing so early. Like, you can see on the clock right now, 1 minute 20 on the round when these smokes start coming through. NiKo, a lot of strong pre-fires through the smoke, expecting that aggression from Rufflecopter, and it counted that perfectly. Oh, and you know what? Talk about smoke. Here comes the 6-pick onto the Warden from Campo.
Okay. I am so intrigued right now. I have really been enjoying seeing how many smokes have been utilized more so as a misdirection play rather than just burning through ADSs and Wamai magnets as of late. We saw it a lot with 7th Heaven in APAC South. I can only make that reference because, of course, we cast them, so it was easy to spot that out. But it really has been showing us a lot more frequently what you can do with that util. And now you're going to see not only is the Warden brought, but also the Maestro. They're going to have so much information. And that in that exact encounter, you don't panic then. If you have that intel, if you have a player like Campo on the Warden that can see through the smokes, the flashes, it's nowhere near as big of a concern, as big as a rush to try and find a trade or some information. So
yeah, and it's not the only operator pick that we've seen switched up here for Rufflecopter, and in fact it is the Maestro replacing Goyo, and once again that is actually also leaning into the counter smoke play. Of course, those Evil Eyes can see through smokes perfectly, so I really like the fact that Rufflecopter is starting to pivot now. They're seeing the strategies that Order are trying to leverage based on those smokes from Ace, and they just immediately have a response for it. Now my question is, can Order now take advantage of the fact that Rufflecopter are bringing 2 less shields than they were previously, and perhaps try and take, for example, piano control and freezer control on the back of that?
So, questions have been asked, and whether or not Order answer is a completely different thing altogether. And it looks like, I mean, I would love to see them, you know, have that early intel of the operator change that Rufflecopter have brought and completely adapt. I'm no 5-head, so I'm not even going to give you a way that they could adapt.
No,
but that's
bro.
not it, NiKo. That's not the way you want to adapt. That's his last nade gone as well. Fortunately, Cutie still has 2 left, but there's 2 Maestro cams. So, I mean, there's 2 Evil Eyes. Can't mess it up. And NiKo goes down, who has just been instrumental for Order.
I love the way that Rufflecopter changed things up, right? Since they were bringing the Warden now, they decided they don't need smoke anymore. So they get the Mute instead of the smoke, and they use that C4 so effectively. So he goes downstairs and gets a vertical kill. That's just really great mid-game adaptations from Rufflecopter. Like, they're completely just revamping and rejigging their strategy on the fly to perfectly counter what Order are bringing. But fortunately for Order, they're bringing the heat straight on back, and they've got a 4v3 man advantage now, and still a lot of info coming from these Yana Geminis.
And they'll do great work. There's only 1 more opportunity, I think, maybe 2 for that Gemini to have full effect after it's been shot. So see Cutie start to reassess and readjust. Hot shot with the perfect timing. Here's the footsteps. What an incredible trade from Joker, but it's just met with consistent trades, Dev. What on earth have we just seen with Cutie left? 1 versus 2. The Fuser will soon be in hand, and there's only 20 seconds left.
A lot of work to be done, but Cutie has been a player we've spoken about consistently this season. User in hand, walking through the Banshee. 2 players to find. He doesn't check the angle at Cocktail Bar, but he has a feeling, and he lands the shot. Now it's a 1v1. 4 seconds left on the clock, and he starts that defuse plant. Boyd, he starts to make his move. He has a C4. He could use it, but he doesn't need to. Rufflecopter take match point in another tantalizing 1v1 clutch.
Defenders disabled the diffuser. Bomb diffuser
Well,
failed. Defenders
if that's not a way to find match point in a game that has truly given us everything, I don't know what is. Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, this is one map of our best of 3. That's right. Playoffs brings us all of the action. It's not one and done. It is fully loaded. And right now, Rufflecopter have put themselves in the best position, not only for this map, but for the series, because we head to their map pick next. We head to Consulate. You couldn't ask for anything more than being on match point on Order's pick, regardless of how well they've played. Rufflecopter have answered that call, and
attackers need to locate and
my oh
defuse bomb.
my, it's going to come down to the full regulation to decide, is it OT?
Bomb.
Or is Rufflecopter walking away with map number 1?
I can't help but feel like Rufflecopter has everything they need to get the job done here. But coming into this game from Order's perspective, right, obviously you lose Itby Style, who has been statistically one of the best players in not just OCN, but APAC South as a whole. And going head-to-head with some of the best there, people like Hysterics you're competing with for that title. And I remember in his final game, Itby Style was gunning for his 2.0 KD to be retained. And unfortunately, he couldn't achieve that goal. But you know who has a greater than 2.0 KD right now? It is Nico. The man stepping in 14 and 6. And I mean, say what you want about maybe how his impact is on the team and how the team is functioning with him on. But individually, this has just been such a beautiful return to competitive Siege for Nico.
It certainly has been. And I think it just goes to highlight the, you know, the unfortunate side of the Maloncat team disbanding is, you know,
So
a
much
player like
talent.
that. Yeah, there was just there's so much raw talent, Dev. You know, you look at that old lineup and you just think, damn, what could have been had they have stuck together. But they have all gone on to, I'm not going to say bigger and better things, but bigger and better things in a small way, shape, or form. And oh no, that is not what the doctor ordered for Rufflecopter in the last round here, Dev.
Now, unfortunately, that is the Echo as well, which we saw last time Rufflecopter defended this site. It ended up being OJ as the Echo in a 1v2. And of course, having those Yokai drones, he was able to not overpeak and he just won the round on time. This is about as good as it gets for Order. Like, if there's any player you want to die, honestly, it probably is OJ. And now Campo's gone down as well. Rufflecopter know that they need to play aggressive to retain this advantage. But Boydie, he's found one pick, still at a man deficit. He needs to find at least one more here to bring Rufflecopter back into it.
I'm going to talk about the storyline that we're reading for Nico right now. Well, Boydie has just been phenomenal in his first season of Tier 1 Siege, and my goodness, he's just found himself a double kill in the round. Is he going to get away? Oh, he's gotten away with murder. Boydie back in a VIP into the safe arms of that first floor. And now Order have to get to work without Nico.
And more importantly, without the vertical potential that Nico's Sledgehammer brings, of course, Jack Dad and Specker can get to work with the breaching charges, but sometimes it's just not enough. And in very similar fashion to last time this round was defended, Rob, there's just not much time left for Order to try and find these vertical kills. And boy, he's got another. Rob, could this be the 4v5 match point they've been waiting for?
4v5, Campo went down. It was a 3v5 at one point, Dev. It's Boydie that's brought it back. He's given both Bouncin and Hotshot an opportunity here. The issue being, it is Joker, it is Jack Daddy, who are still in their way. No C4 in the pocket as of yet. Bouncin holds the long line as now they start to enter the site. They have not spotted Hotshot. In fact, they've got absolutely
Hotshot.
no idea. This is going to be massive.
Oh my
Hotshot
God.
might be able to deny this for free. No, he's caught out by Joker, but he's going to push aggressively. No way. Rufflecopter win it on time. And not only is that round done and dusted, but guess what? So is the map. Cafe goes to the hands of Rufflecopter. It's 1-0 in the series.
Doesn't matter if they're 4 versus 5. Rufflecopter can get the job done. What an amazing showing from this up-and-coming roster. It may just be map 1, but they are on track to run the gauntlet here, Rob. This is quite an exciting prospect.
Well, I'm not going to say that I have a 5-head, but I have a 5-head. Rufflecopter have looked good all season long. I'm kidding. I think most people predicted them on the predictions, Dev. So there's no way I can even sell that story. They looked really good in that map, regardless of what Order's history's like on it. The replacement, NiKo definitely filled the shoes of Ippy Style. Sure, the playstyle may have completely changed for Order. It may have changed the way that they progress in the round, but there is no doubting what Rufflecopter have achieved here. Now we go to their map.
And it's Consulate as well, which is the map that these teams played in OCN. Rufflecopter took that convincing 7-2. If Order can bring out their ace in the hole, this cafe that they've been hiding for the better part of 9 months, and they still can't even take Rufflecopter to overtime, this really does beg the question, is Rufflecopter just the better team? And are they going to get this done in 2 maps? Honestly, I would say they can.
Well, guess what? You're a caster. We've got some people standing by who might be able to better answer that. It's, of course, the capable hands of Vinny and the other blokes.
I mean, at that point, I can't even really blame you because you're 100% right, Manic, aren't you? It is, of course, Vinny and the other blokes here back again from the desk. And, well, I'll go to you first, Vinny, since you're the lead man here on our virtual desk. Rufflecopter, they get the win on Order's map pick, and it's not looking good for Order.
I mean, what a first map from the boys. If that's an indication of the kind of siege you're going to be watching this weekend, then I'm very excited to be here. And yeah, they just seem to be the better team, both in structure and kind of, you know, the pacing of the rounds throughout the rounds. I think NiKo did a really good job to kind of keep Order in it for a few of them. He's shown exactly what I was talking about earlier. He's just such an impactful player, and he's almost like intimidating to be in the server with. So he's done a really good job. And yeah, I think Ruffle did really well to close out this map.
Yeah, it was a crazy start to this map. I mean, the replays are showing it, right? The first few rounds, absolutely insane. A lot of those narrowing down to 1 versus 1 scenarios, and NiKo was really the player of the hour. Despite Order not winning, he was just absolutely popping off, and I would say probably keeping Order in it for the most part. He was getting a lot of opening picks, top fragging for them, a couple of clutch players as well, which was really awesome to see. But unfortunately, Order didn't take the map. It was their pick. They haven't played in such a long time, are expecting big things, but they just didn't quite deliver.
No, they certainly did. And NiKo did, right? So NiKo, we give a big giant tick to for his performance in this matchup, at least from an individual standpoint, but it's a team game at the end of the day, and Order as a team unable to deliver. They go down 1-0 in the series. Disaster. They now have to go to Consulate, which of course was only a couple of days ago that they played Rufflecopter, losing 7-2 on Consulate. And I would have to say, Vinny, the expectation is that may be a repeat. Maybe not necessarily a 7-2, but Rufflecopter definitely going to Consulate as favorites.
I mean, I'm really hoping that Order have looked over Consulate in that break between their last match, because if it's anything like the previous one, then this is going to be a very quick match, and I think it's going to be a very quick series.
Yeah, I think the important thing to note about that is, though, that Order obviously had really important matches to worry about as well over in APAC South. So they probably didn't have the ideal amount of prep time as maybe the likes of Ruffle did have heading into this one to tidy up any of their mistakes. So this is looking like a Ruffle 2-0. I'm going to hold on to my prediction with 2 firm hands. I really don't see it changing. I mean, look at the stats, right? Despite no one having a NiKo-esque performance and going absolutely huge, it was pretty consistent outside of maybe OJ, who found it a little bit rough, and that's what you want.
Yeah, and look, in the end, for Rufflecopter, they get the job done. The other 4, besides OJ, standing up. Unfortunately for Order, they did leave their run a little too late. Rufflecopter got off to a pretty decent lead, and from there, they were able to capitalize. What's intriguing to me, though, is, you look at the statistics like the cost as well, Guz, and Order don't actually look that bad. Statistically, that don't look like they actually just lost, especially if you compare the 2 teams' costs. Is that at least some sort of semblance of good sign maybe going into Consulate that this is not going to be, a quick 2-0?
I mean, the cost stat is impressive, but the stat that really stands out to me is the entry. Not a single player from Ruffle went positive on the entry, and that would just indicate that Order aren't converting on the early round advantages that they are gathering. So maybe lacking a bit of structure and communication in the late round. And Vinny was discussing it with us that maybe they're just lacking a decent IGL late round, and it is costing them in some of those scenarios.
Yeah, I can only echo that point. The entry stat is kind of important in that it gets you that opening into the round, but yeah, as you said, they don't have that ability to convert the rounds, and I think the entry stat more than anything shows just the individual skill of the Order players, but that kind of lack of coherent teamwork at the moment.
Yeah, and look, they've got a lot that they're going to have to improve on going into Consulate, not just based off this series, but of course, based on the previous map. They're going to have to flip the script if Order are going to send it to Oregon. Of course, the beauty of a best of three is they do get one more chance. Of course, for Rufflecopter, though, as we head to the break, they do lead, and they are now on series point. They're on after. When we come back, we head over to Consulate.
Attacker has located a bomb. Attacker bomb diffuser has been dropped. 5 seconds left. Attackers are activating now. Bomb located by attacker.
So gone, miserable. Won't you stick around just for some be visible? But you don't know, you don't care. Leave me to suffer, erase all the doubt. Pouring Jack in my mouth, in a love with enough of the pain and the drugs to be present for now. All I'm right now, I don't wanna wake up messed up, 'cause I can't spend another day like this. Another type of kicked up, break up, where I've been finding any way to my fix. But I know I need you now, 'cause I don't wanna be around. No, I don't wanna wake up messed up. There's gotta be another way past this. Yeah. Let's talk. Look, ayo, we rose from the dust to the sun. They claiming that we the one, never one-on-one. Teamwork till we done. Sent on a mission, we got ambition. Never scared, we won't run. Never one and done. Some sit back and some like the hunt. I pick my teammates up when they fall. And if I ball, we all ball. Crashing balls, crossovers and all. Just call us the balls. Don't fear nothing, call us galore. Serving them all. We outside, we barely indoors because we gave it everything when we had nothing. Gave it everything when we had nothing. Holding on by a thread, couldn't grab nothing. Dreams we moved on to a better place. Shine, shine away, away from the shade. But now that we're here, ain't no going back. This is the moment to go. This is the moment to shine. This is the moment to show. Show me the rocks you can climb. This is the moment to feel the path like you legally blind. I can promise this is ours cause we built for this, kill for this. Pushing buttons, do it quick, push it off and do assist. Oh, y'all think we new to this? Pound for pound, break it down. Watch what we gon' do with this. Teamwork got us fluid with. Make y'all look like switches. Gave it everything when we had none. Gave it everything when we had none. Holding on by a thread, couldn't grab none.
This could be huge. Manages to find them.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from the break for OCN playoffs. We are one map already through the gauntlet, and maybe one more map is all Order has for their season. If they can't win here on Consulate, it would be a very quick end to their gauntlet run. For Rufflecopter, though, they came out firing on Order's map pick, and now, guys, we will be heading over to Consulate, where, of course, it's the map pick of Rufflecopter.
Yeah, things are definitely not looking any brighter here for Order. Ruffle have a perfect record on Consulate from the history that we have dating back to LPL. So by no means a pushover map for them. And like we said a couple of times now, the last time these two played, Ruffle won 7-2, which does not paint a very bright picture for Order.
No, they're definitely under the struggle bus right now. They need to definitely pull out something different for Consulate. Like you said, Ruffle are very strong on that map, and they tend to prey on the weaker teams on that map. So very interested to see how they come out here.
Well, we haven't seen much of Consulate this season in OCN. Neither has these two teams. They both played it once, of course. It was against each other, and it wasn't very long ago. 100% win rate to 0% win rate. It doesn't spell good news for Order, although fortunately, guys, you know, it's only one match, all right? Especially in a best of one at the end of a season. Order did have, you know, at least something on the line. Of course, had they been able to win this particular match, they would have had a much higher seeding. They wouldn't have to start the gauntlet all the way at the very beginning. Ultimately, though, they fell short by a long way, and Rufflecopter looked really good doing so.
Yeah, Consulate is a map that really, in the current meta, facilitates aggressive play, and some would say the ranked play style where, especially on defense, you know, you're trying to prevent the attack from even just getting in the building, and on the vice versa on the attack, you're playing super aggressive late round and playing that trade meta. So it does favor Ruffle. Historically, you would have said maybe Order, right? Because it's not like they're pushovers, especially mechanically, but for whatever reason, didn't quite click for them in that last matchup, and they haven't had a long time to switch things up. Remember, they played Consulate, I think it would have been on the Monday, right? They had 2 APAC games to play before today, so they really haven't had a lot to work with, and it's probably going to show.
Yeah, I think you're right about Consulate being kind of that ranked kind of playstyle at the moment in the current meta. You kind of want to make sure the attackers don't get so much control in the building, because, you know, once they're established, it's very hard to retake map control or even retake site. But at the same time, Order at the moment don't look like the structured Order we're kind of used to, or at least they're less structured now with Nico. And as Nico showed, he has such a big impact on the round. So I could definitely see a different Order today than it was last time they faced off on this map.
We're not going to keep everyone waiting for too much longer. Of course, one map into the series. We're going to be heading back in now onto Consulate to see whether or not Rufflecopter can move forward in the gauntlet.
Just making sure I'm unmuted. Yeah, we're good to go. Let's go, Dev. straight away. We're into it. Bang, consulate time. And we are excited as ever. A tantalizing prospect for Rufflecopter to take down the Giants in order 2-0. And it is a very real prospect now.
In fact, I would be more surprised if Order win this map in this series than if Rufflecopter just clean sweep this map. It seems really, really likely here that Rufflecopter is going to flourish on their map pick of Consulate. They've already won it during the season. I see no reason why playoffs should be any different.
No, there is a very real possibility that Order do not even see a map win in the OCN playoffs. It's the gauntlet format. It is do or die for them. And Rufflecopter start on attack on Consulate.
Of course, that does leave us with the operator bans, and having a look at this, Order always ban out the Nomad here on this map. Rufflecopter pretty split between the Capitao and the Thatcher with their traditions, but actually Order's going to mix things up. They're going to leave the Nomad in. I wonder now, is Rufflecopter going to ban the Nomad? Because Nomad is just such a powerful operator on this map, and just in general for suppressing flanks and defender aggression, and it is in, Rob. Order always ban Nomad on this map, and even just like you take Consulate out of the equation, just look at the grand scheme of things, it's actually their second most banned operator at just over 20%, which is really, really big. So the fact that this means that attackers are going to have that in their arsenal to suppress the aggression from the defenders, I think this is likely to be a more attacker-sided game, and assuming that these attacking sides do their due diligence, it really should be fairly difficult for the defenders to engage that aggression.
Okay. Final two operators, Valk and Maestro to go. Very interested on your points, allowing, aggression from both sides. Maybe, just maybe, Order may find themselves in hot pursuit of a third and final map, which, if we do need to go there, will be Oregon. We head down to the basement to start off the proceedings for Order. And we are seeing 2 wall denials plus that mirror. And Jack Daddy just quickly swapping on out. And we'll be bringing the Jaeger to finish on up. As we head into it, Dev, I want your expectations here.
I feel like just by all rights, this should be a fairly convincing Rufflecopter game. It's so hard to foresee anything different. Now, if we go back and later on, I'll go and have a look at the previous time these guys played to kind of analyze that for comparison. But just in terms of this round, of course, like the Nomad, like I said, was not in last time these guys played on Consulate. And it is now, so it just means that aggression is going to be much less potent. Looking into the rest of the situation, of course, Rufflecopter also bring the line, which further suppresses that defender aggression. And Order have, funnily enough, chosen not really to lean into that aggro playstyle. They're really heavily bunkering down here in public bathroom. They've got a lot of wall denial, as you already alluded to. The mute jam is also good info denial. And that paired with the Kaid and the mirror window up in private, or public rather, is just going to mean it's going to take a lot of work from Rufflecopter to then take vertical and start to go for a garage execute. So we'll see how effective Rufflecopter can be on this roam clear and in eventually getting that vertical control. And I do feel like that is going to be the meat and potatoes of this round.
A bomb has been located.
A lot of expectations coming into this season. Order haven't really hit the mark. Even though they were so close to finishing first in the league, they now have an opportunity to really show us what they're worth. But by all rights, Rufflecopter have done an incredible job, all things considered, coming from what was the promotion relegation playoffs of last year. Have really shown that they deserve to be here, and slowly but surely they will be dwindling away the utility of Order without really exposing themselves too much here. So
yeah, the goal here for starters for Rufflecopter is to clear off that Electric Claw so they can breach the wall. Now, one thing that I'm not a big fan of here is the fact that Ruffle only have the Ace. For garage attacks, you really want that Thermite, ideally. It's just the only way to get a completely open wall, but Hotshot does use. Oh no, there's a tiny little bit missing here in the breach. That's actually so unfortunate. See that tiny little line there? That is going to be so frustrating. It means you're going to have to crouch through that instead of being able to sprint through, which, don't undervalue how much that can impact when the attackers go in for that execute.
Well, especially if they keep that top floor control as well. I mean, it looks like they're going to slowly but surely contest this. Bouncing, making his way in from yellow, just face checking Jack Daddy there. There's still one up on the tier 2, making his way down. Nico, surely Nico doesn't find the opening kill of the game again. Trust in the hands of God, because he has been putting on a clinic.
God.
What the hell is going on?
Nico's just doing Nico things, still unpunished. Finally, Hotshot finishes him off, but this may well be all over Red Rover for Rufflecopter, and there you go, another great spray from Jack Dad. He's been doing God's work on the Jaeger, and just wide swings it again. Order starts strong here and make a statement against Rufflecopter.
Oh, well, I guess it wouldn't be an OCN game if something wild didn't happen within the first 3 minutes. And once more, Nico has sprung to action for Order. And they can now move on to wherever their next defense would favor. Does, of course, lean into that lobby hold. Oryx being shown by Jack Daddy for now, whether it holds or not. Maybe another thing altogether. The only player. No, it's actually going to be the Mozzie that swapped out for the Jaeger. So, all things considered right now, Order preparing themselves as they've already got the defensive win on the Consulate, which they, I believe, were eluded from last time, if I'm correct in remembering that. It may have been a while ago in my small brain, but that's okay. I'll confirm that in a second.
Don't expect much more,
Oh, get off it. Get off it.
To lean into this though, the big thing is the fact that Order were actually unable to win a defense at all when they played Rufflecopter on this map during the season, and that was only 5 days ago, right? So, pretty big deal here for Order to already start strong. Now, it was on the back of an aggressive 2K from Nico, and from that point forward, Ruffle didn't really have much else going for them. But at the very least, like, it's a good confidence booster here for Order.
And it's not really a team you want to be giving confidence to. Jack Daddy, I am sure, is going to be as elusive as ever. Movement on this man's will be hard to track, provided he is able to do so. And Rufflecopter don't shut him down early. And I would say the longer that he continues to be a movie sprinty boy, it's just going to keep Rufflecopter on their toes forevermore. Oh, that's new. Cutie, my goodness. Order are absolutely cheering right now, Dev. This is an incredible start to Consulate so far.
It's really great because, I mean, if you're Order right now, you could be kind of dejected. You could be thinking, oh, damn, we picked Cafe as a bit of an off pick and really were hoping that it would go through. And Consulate, we know we got destroyed by Rufflecopter just the other day. So you could be pretty dejected if you're in Order's shoes right now, but they are just taking so much confidence and they're taking so many chances here, which is great. I think it's the perfect way to knock Rufflecopter off of their perch. And clearly it's paying dividends for them so far. Opening pick once again. Ooh, was that an impact to deny the Selma? If not, I think that there is at least some kind of a breach there on the meeting wall, which does give Rufflecopter an opening to clearing it out. And there you go. As a result, Joker just actually retreats and abandons the position.
And right as you say that, OJ's actually been able to catch one. Jack Daddy goes back out for another swing and he wins the fight. There's no one close enough to trade it.
Ow.
He has been Nomad jabbed out a little bit longer, but he's still alive. And Nico just making matters worse here for Rufflecopter. My, oh my, how the tables have turned here in the playoffs. Ruffle, who looked so dominant, so strong in their first outing on Consulate, are starting to wither away here on the attack.
A bomb has been located.
No mad, no worries for Jack Dad. Oh, how does Bounce and still not find that pick? And now pressured from multiple angles. He's in a 1v4. They're getting hungry for it. 30 seconds. If there's anyone who could make this possible, it would be Bouncing. But I mean, come on, like this. It's just too tall an order, even for one of the most talented young players in Oceanic Rainbow. Six Becker closes it, and Order, Rob, believe it or not, have just found as many rounds on Consulate now as they did in Rufflecopter during the regular season.
Insane to think it may continue to spiral here. And if Order can confirm the three-piece, all three defenses, it will be horrific signs for Rufflecopter. Archives and Tellers, which just sees so much varied success in the ANZ region, is where we are going for this defense. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is what the map ended on last time these two teams played off. So I think that Order may have a fresh set of eyes on this one, to say the very least.
Yeah, it's Teller's Archives, a site that we don't see every team take, but it's nice when we do see it. Now, unfortunately, whoever was casting that Rufflecopter Order game, that was Xenox and Guz, right? Yeah, Rob?
Yeah, it
Pretty
must
sure
have been.
it was.
Yeah,
like,
if it was the last
so-
play day, yeah, it was.
so the match track is not properly filled out, so...
That makes perfect sense.
Exactly. You know, in every casting, team, there is like one casting pair that puts in the work, obviously us, and then there's others that just kind of freeload, and
Yeah.
obviously that's Xenox for you through and through.
That's what's happened. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round.
So unfortunately, I can't tell you whether Order played this, but yeah, it's from memory. I think they did pick this last time around. In the final round, of course, lost it as well to Rufflecopter. I'm just... I hate to flip-flop so early, right? But just the fact that Order looks completely different to they did last time against Rufflecopter on this map is just such a promising sign, Rob. Like, they didn't find a single defense when they played Ruffle during the season. Now they've found two in a row. The fact that they've done that on the back of losing their map pick shows that they're clearly not negatively affected by the potential, mental stress that may have placed on them. That's really promising as well. So I think that they could run away with this.
Well, all accounts say yes right now. This is the first time Order haven't had the opening pick. However, what stands between Order or Rufflecopter and their first round win may well be NiKo once more, sitting on 4 kills. And look at this from Bouncing, spearheading his way through admin. Just needs to be cautious now as they start to slowly but surely clear out this top floor. They need to do so with the utmost caution.
What's great here for Ruffle is that with that angle that you just saw Bouncing looking at, it's so hard for a retake to occur here. Up those stairs, as obviously Bouncing can watch it. Low HP though, he could even lose the fight here, especially considering Cutie was there on Spiral. Oh, and he just took so much damage from his own breaching rounds. Bouncing's lucky to be alive.
The issue with lucky to be alive and unfortunate to be dead is one crosshair that you still have to deal with. And okay, there you go. My point is null and void. A very quick trade from OJ, though. It does bring them back into the advantage, but is that still the bulletproof cam on NiKo?
Yes, he has one in his pocket, as you do. Just saving it
gift.
for a rainy day. I mean, knowing NiKo, he probably actually has something.
He has a strat.
He's like, oh yeah, mid gunfight, I'm gonna pull it out, and it's gonna block the bullet that would have taken me down. No, NiKo's
Like Captain American shield or something.
Exactly. Oh, but look at this. Here it comes from Rufflecopter. The sledgehammer straight into the bomb site. Vulnerable to those C4s. I like that opening the hatch. There's still some pressure on in the late round, but it is very late round.
That is. 11th hour, in fact, and that's the pick that they'll be looking for. Hot shot may be able to get this
Oh,
confirmed. How is
perfect.
Nico swung again and found a double kill? He's gonna find another. It's only onto Campo in a 1v1. My God, Nico is playing out of his goddamn mind right now, Dev.
A hair's breadth away that was from being an order round, and if Nico had found that last kill as well onto Campo, that would have been like a 1v4 clutch, right? Actually, no, that would have been a 1v. That would have been a 5k from Nico. I'm pretty sure. No, Cutie found one. That was, regardless of my caster mass, that would have been insane, and a valiant effort from the man. If only he put his bulletproof camera down, though. I mean, that was clearly what went wrong for him. But jokes aside, a bit of a scary late round there from Rufflecopter, considering Nico was able to sweep through and disrupt the plant on the bomb site, but you're just so thankful that Campo was able to swing through in the end.
I mean, in a 4v2, I don't know whether you just tried to do that, but it should never have gotten to that position. It really does. It really does scare me for what Nico may be able to achieve in the playoffs. You know, coming in as what would be considered to be a quote-unquote unknown entity, mainly because he hasn't played this season. I mean, he's one of those players you can never keep tabs on in a regular season, let alone when he hasn't shown up the entire season. You know, it's just questionable to see what he's going to be able to achieve on this roster, even if it is just for this small amount of time. Regardless, he may well give them the leg up that they're looking for. But it is excellent to see Rufflecopter taking that round, what was so convincingly in everything but the execute.
Yeah, it was a good start from Ruffle, but of course, yeah, Nico was the sole player that completely disrupted that. So he's once again really showing up on the scoreboard. He's actually having such an insane, I don't want to say debut. What's the word when someone returns? Like, I guess a return to form.
Yeah, we'll find a word for it.
Yeah, it's not his maiden voyage, but it is his first voyage in quite some time. He ended up with a 2.0 KD on map 1, and he's 3.0 at the moment with 6 and 2. Obviously, that'll diminish, you presume, over the course of this map, but still a valiant effort. As for Rufflecopter here, they're going to have to put in a valiant effort to win this bomb site garage cafeteria, because Order's defense in the first round of this game was just so solid, and here it is once again starting strong. Though there is a good trade.
Goodness me, trades seem to be the factor in this, at least for the series. It has always, I feel like no kill has really gone completely unanswered, Dev. Every time we've seen someone fall, there's been a trade within the next couple of seconds. So I am most definitely enjoying how this is playing out. For now, though, it does seem like there's a little bit of a stalemate halfway through the round. Phase 2 of the round is always where things can crumble on this basement attack. Still with so much left to do, Speckers remain unchecked, as it looks like that may be the point that they're looking for now.
There are some soft walls there, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. The north-facing wall of Public was actually soft, so let's make it quite difficult here for Specker, the poor man, to hold on. But sorry, Specker's dropped down. Okay, hello. That's pretty good now. Bouncing, just gonna face check this through the Banshee. It's gonna be wasting that time. Not sure whether the player is in there, and they looking for it. There's a player down at Pipes. Couple shots exchanged either way. Specker. Hey, is that a C4 from Cutie? I think the C4 was destroyed by the impact, but Specker makes good on it with a kill.
I guess you can give with one and take with the other, provided you do take with the other. And Rufflecopter are not really in the best position, all things considered. That main wall isn't open, and here we go. Finally, it is, Dev. We'll come back to your awe moment in a second, because this is Rufflecopter's opportunity in the late round to make this work.
And they can't breach the right-hand wall. That claw cannot be shot from above, I don't think. And these mirror windows are going to make this a headache and a half. Trying to fall on in. Kills both ways, 2v2. All on OJ at the hat. Just stun grenade ain't going to be enough, son. You're going to have to land your shots. Rounding the corner, he can find one, but the double is just not there. Narrowly. OJ misses the mark and Order take the round.
Hot damn, that was extremely close. I mean, when you consider that the Salma charges were not going off until, what, 25 seconds left, they still hadn't dealt with the Banshee on the yellow stairs. That was incredibly close. And I think, you know, I hate to say this, but that, the entirety of how close that ends up being is coming down to winning those ones. And you can see OJ right there at the outline, only narrowly by half a second missing that window to convert the kill. It would have been absolutely ludicrous, outrageous had he been able to do that. The issue Rafflecopter are now facing is this is 3 rounds looking to be a 4th for Order on this defense. And they are looking just heads and shoulders above where they were on the last play day of OCN.
Yeah, this is massive return to form, and certainly not something we expected, especially, you know, you look at the context of Order recently, their last couple games have not been that hot. Like, of course, they did beat Chiefs in that really monstrous overtime 8-7 win, but it was so narrow, and I feel like maybe, you know, if that game had a couple more rounds and it had unlimited overtime, maybe Order wouldn't have won it. And then after that, you know, they lost 2-7 to Rafflecopter. They beat Wildcard, but, you know, sorry, Vinny, but Wildcard's not necessarily in form right now, so can't praise Order too much for that. And then they lost to Chiefs again, so I feel like Order isn't really on a hot streak at the moment. And then they lost map 1, which was their pick. Everything is telling me that Order was just not in it right now, that they were just going to flop, they were going to fall to the wayside. And the fact that they brought so much fire this map, the fact that they're winning these 1v1s, it's given me so much more confidence in them.
And for a team that really thrives off their own confidence, this is the map that they really would have been looking for all season long, with the performance, the way they're really bringing it into the fray. Rafflecopter stalling out towards admin at the moment as they start to clear from the east to west. Now, last time we saw this exact same approach, and it just did not work. In fact, I think Order had a fairly decent hold on the upper side. With about minute 45, they are starting to get everything they need open. They've forced back Joker.
Wow.
That's good.
He goes all the way to the basement. What is his play then, to go and try and hold spiral stairs, I guess? Like, remember, Joker is playing the FO12, so he's a very non-versatile loadout to be running. Can't really take long-range fights unless if he goes with a pistol, and even then, like, you should lose to a rifle with the pistol, right? But
Right?
checking back in with this Rafflecopter attack, good progress on the top floor. Looking to convert that into the vertical game, clear out the setup. But NiKo, again, his name is always on our lips.
Oh, my God. I'm... Honestly, at this point, it's just become the NiKo show.
I mean, that's his 5th opening kill this
Yeah.
series so far. Out of 17 rounds, you know, he's gotten the opening pick in almost a third of those.
Okay, so you know, like the Will and Grace show, this is the NiKo and Order show. It's just kind of like he is the main character in this storyline and may well single-handedly drag Order from their current form or their previous form into the fray. My goodness, that's the hole we're looking for from Rafflecopter. They drop straight down the meeting hatch, but look at the response from Specker and Joker. They now grab that vertical pressure, but Dev, in a 2v2, is it going to be enough?
Oh, this is a pivotal gunfire right here, and Specker wins it. It's all on Bouncin. He's already found 2 picks. Now, this is so difficult, but what a player to hold on for it. Specker has to land this shot, and he does! A massive round from Specker, and Joker can easily get that counter defuse. Order are running away with this, Rob.
I mean, I firmly thought after we saw the execute from Raffle, I thought, yep, that's it in the bag. What a performance, dropping down meeting hatch, finding 3 quick kills. And then the second the second it looks like Rafflecopter are starting to organize and get settled, it's Specker and Joker that just turn the tides. And from there, in a 2 versus 4 retake, they have done such an incredible job at even making that possible, let alone converting it. And I think we have to do it right now. We have to highlight the difference between Specker in playoffs and Specker in OCN regulation. He just wasn't, like in the regular season, I really felt like it was Specker that was letting Order down some of those occasions. He mentioned it himself that, there were rounds where he felt like he was the pivotal factor for it slipping away. And, take the 7-1 away from him right now, which is currently what he's sitting on for the kill to death ratio. But the impact that he has been having in both the last map and now this one too. If Order are hitting form in playoffs, I mean, Bliss, Chiefs, Knights, they have to be so careful.
They certainly do. This is quite the upset here on map number 2. We had all favored Rafflecopter for the series, if not for the first map, and when they took Order on Cafe, we thought that we were only more convinced that this was a Rafflecopter game. So this is just such a big dash of our expectations here from Order to have such a strong defense half here. Remember, they didn't win a single defense against Rafflecopter in the regular season on Consulate. And here we come. And Rafflecopter, they're just completely manhandled here by Order. Every single round, it might get close. We've seen so many 1v1s, 1v2s, but Order is just so consistent at pulling themselves across the line.
Yep. I mean, if they take it 1-5, Dev 5-1, whichever way you want to look at it, it should be done. It should be over. 4-2 still leaves the door slightly ajar for Rafflecopter, but 5-1 is just done. There's no feasible way that I can see Rafflecopter bringing it back. And,
He's watching it.
Is it? You tell me.
Hotshot's watching it. I think you can tell that Joker is tempted, but he thinks better of it. Fortunately for his team. Oh, there's a drone. Oh, there's a nade. Hello. Specker forced back. And there you go. He cops his second death of the map.
Absolutely love that from Rafflecopter. That was perfectly played with bounce and pushing at the same time as that nade coming through the door of Printers. And I mean, at this point, this is looking a little bit better. They've got the opening pick. They're starting to make the progress. They still have a fair bit to flush out, considering what we've seen across that CEO side. I believe there's still 2 players with the castle barricade. Cutie's decided better than to sit and stay. And this is the issue right now. There's 2 C4s, plus Nico is also on the pulse. This late round for Rafflecopter, if they don't give themselves enough time, it's going to kill them. Quite literally and metaphorically.
Like this, that's a C4 tossed on up, but old information acted upon too late. And that kill is not found. 50 seconds remaining. Rafflecopter might have found the opening pick, but oh, there's a run out. OJ almost loses his life, and Joker is punished for his sins. 5v3 now. This might be the chance here for Rafflecopter to salvage this half. A 2-4 would not be impossible, but Order, you can never count them out. Not with the form they're in right now.
No. Knowing full well Nico's possibilities. Oh, Jack Daddy finding a free kill. If Nico takes down Campo there, it's going to make Order's life incredibly difficult. But look at the vertical pressure Order have established here. Jack Daddy, try all you may in a 1 versus 4. No information, no vertical control, no C4. You are all but done and dusted. What a performance from Order, although Rafflecopter bounced back. go Order with just such a strong, demanding first half. I think Rafflecopter are fortunate to get that final round in the bag. It was one that absolutely needed to be converted. And now we look to their defense side and ask questions. Questions like, can you win 5 rounds to push this outside of overtime? Can you win this cleanly? Can you even push it to overtime? Because Order are hot on your heels.
And I also want to look at the flip side of that as well. Order had a good defense. They had some things that I hadn't seen a lot of before. For example, the electric law on that garage defense, which really messed up Rafflecopter. Little things like that that Order brought to the table. Like, do they have that same kind of depth of strategy and preparation for their attack? Because keeping in mind that also slotting in Nico is difficult as well. We already had Vinny reference the fact that, wait, are they leaving that unreinforced?
It looks like it. It very much looks like it, Dev.
All right, Rafflecopter. All right, Rafflecopter. All right, let's try and theory craft this. Is it to impact trick to try and prevent the ace from breaching the wall? Because there's a mute jammer
they've got 2 impacts, and the impacts are on Vigil, who I would assume is on the top floor. So try again.
Is it to C4? Like what? So the first Selma goes onto the wall. It's muted. It'll be so easy to clear off that mute jammer. I don't understand why you wouldn't reinforce that unless you really, really desperately wanted a reinforcement elsewhere.
I mean, well, there are no reinforcements left, so here's a theory craft for you. Someone's accidentally reinforced an extra wall that they shouldn't have without making comms. I know, but maybe that's what's happened because I have a very small brain. Siege or not siege, it doesn't make a difference, but that is a shock horror to me, and I have absolutely no idea why you'd leave the right side wall for free, because that also allows them to open up the left-hand side for free as well.
Yeah, and with Order not bringing a thermite, like, they would usually be punished by, the fact that then there's far fewer angles that can be opened up with just the 3-8 Selmas, but thanks to Rafflecopter opening up that wall themselves, that's not so much the case. Order gets to have their cake and eat it too.
Oh, bouncing. Okay, where was that from? Was that out on the... What? Oh, okay. I see you bouncing. Trades are going back and forth. There's no longer a C4 in the hands. And Order are trying to find something here. What on earth is going on? Dev. Wow.
I would love to be able to answer that question for you, mate, but it seems like Order were a little bit baited. Like Nico, for example, pushed to the bottom of Visa stairs. Very risky to do so. And it looks like Order are just very disjointed. They're pushing a little bit here, a little bit there, and it's being punished. Here's a 1v1. Oh, Specker just got timed. Bouncing does find his second kill, looking for a third. Oh no, it's Mayhem. Who's gonna take the shot here? Cutie finally gets it down and out in a few moments. At 20 seconds left, time is not on his side, but HP actually is. OJ is full, but Campo and Hotshot both very, very low.
I've never seen him lose these. Never. Rumor has it,
What?
Cutie
Oh,
gets
the
absolutely
trade!
domed. Oh, it's a trade. Wow. I have no clue how that's a trade for Cutie. Absolutely no clue at all.
NS?
But I guess. Yeah, so a spanner in the works. The right-hand side of the wall isn't reinforced, and they've just absolutely domed on all of us. That's an interesting tale to start with. Rafflecopter now opt for the Towers defense rather than the lobby defense that we would generally see in the rotation. So keep your eyes peeled. And Order now, not the cleanest of starts.
Yeah, it's funny because we were kind of roasting Rafflecopter pretty hard. Like, why didn't they reinforce that? The only thing I can think of is maybe they really wanted to reinforce the hatches in Visa so that it was hard for Order to take control of like archives. But yeah, I consulted an analyst team via DMs, and Guz reckons they forgot And Vinny doesn't believe it's a very credible strategy. That's the kind way of saying what he told me. So,
Man, you are really the bus today, aren't you? The wheels on the bus no longer go round and round. They go up and down, Dev. Up and down.
10 seconds to go.
That,
well, I mean,
like,
in summary, you know, don't hate on it if it works. And I don't think the reason Rufflecopter won that round was because of that unreinforcement on the garage. But hey, the fact that they won it means I'll stop asking questions.
yeah. Hey, maybe they reinforce it, maybe they lose it. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Now, Spec has taken damage 10 seconds into the round, and I believe that was a peek from Printer. So, yeah. You can always tell. Oh, here we go. You can always tell, Bev, by the body language.
Ah.
Ah.
Love analyzing players' body language as Nico swings straight on into Piano on his classic buck with the cameras, that DMR. I wonder if he's going to try and... Is he going to engage vertical play to try and displace any players on the top floor? Like, he's just getting in this nice aggressive position so that if Boydie does decide to re-enter garage, he'll be punished.
I feel like Boydie would be chilling at the moment. There's no real need for him to move. He's got the mirror window, the reinforced wall. He knows the hatch is open, regardless of whether he knows where he is or not. He sits pretty for now, and what do now have to think of a different approach as Bouncin may just come into contact with that player who's come up yellow stairs. Not just yet, Dev.
Yeah, also got to worry about the player on the CEO windows, as it looks like Order have basically had this top floor for free. Specker and Nico both taking a chunk of damage, but keep in mind Bouncin can always try and retake through the hatches. He could jump up. So much info here gathered by Campo. What I really want to see is for Rufflecopter to make some play on the back of it. And is that the diffuser outside yellow or on yellow stairs? Oh, Boydie almost had that in his clutches, but Joker punishes.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Oh, Boydie having a very quiet game this Consulate. 1 and 7, considering he may well have been the determining factor in Rufflecopter cleaning up on the first map. Cutie doubling down on the issues for Rufflecopter this round, and they are only 3 players left. Fortunately enough, 2 of them have C4s, so they may be able to burn a little bit more time, but there's so much left on the clock, Dev.
That's it. Like, I just don't see how Rufflecopter claw themselves back in here. Bouncer goes down. Camper has a C4. Does that land? It does, and it's a double as well. 25 seconds. That may have been what Rufflecopter needed to bring it back. Specker charging forward. Needs to cover his teammate. Hotshot still has a C4. And there it goes. They've got so much info. Planting once again. Rufflecopter have to hold. Hotshot's going for the retake. He gets down. It's all on Campo. And Order have done it. They've got that diffuser down. Campo, he's going for the res. What is this? The absolute balls on the man. But Order hold down. And they get it done. That's another round, putting them so far forward in this game.
Geez, you felt like Order was making their job extremely difficult there. I'm not entirely sure which table you can jump on to give you the safest opportunity to plant, but with how many tables are in Tellers there, it just feels like, you know, there's plenty of time to bait there, 30 seconds, and you don't know where the 2 Rufflecopter players are, so at the very least you'd expect some kind of baiting. Regardless, with 4 players left, whilst Order decide to execute, they just have so much time to work with, and it does allow them a safe finish to that round. And on the back of this now, we will move to lobby, which I just don't, with the current form the Order are in, I just don't know whether Rufflecopter are really going to have the stamina to beat them in this one. I honestly think they are looking so sharp.
I totally agree. The thing with Order is that they've just also always had time. Like, every single attack round, they seem to have a lot of time to spare. I think that round would be the one exception. But even then, they were executing fairly early on, like 40, 50 seconds left. It was just that an execute was much slower because of that C4 response. But the thing that I think, you know, Rufflecopter need to do, and maybe this is a bit oversimplification, but
5 seconds left before
every single round so far, the opening kill has led to the round win, or at least
attackers are heading out.
the team who's got that opening kill has got the round win. I think Rufflecopter need to keep trying to make plays. Sometimes it's getting shut down, sometimes it's not. I think you have to take those risks on Consulate, just like Vinny was talking about in the pre-show analysis here. That Consulate is a map where if you just let the attackers kind of have map control and do their thing, then as a defensive squad, you're going to have a really bad time. I think Rufflecopter need to keep playing the map, keep bringing that aggression to Order, and don't let up.
Well, it's something that they've just been so well known for on their defenses, especially players like Bouncin, who are forever since they joined the Tier 1 ANZ Siege scene, I believe last season it was, literally have, like, he's so elusive. He has forever been moving on the defense, and, you know, to kind of bat home the importance of your point, it really, from my eyes, has been what has really put Rufflecopter in great positions time and time again, is just their ability to play aggressively. And for now, that Gemini just got so much information. Unfortunately, Order can't really do anything off the back of it just yet. Still 2 Aruni gates on the meeting windows, so it'll allow Hotshot to sit a little bit safer for a little bit longer, but I am liking the setup from Rufflecopter.
Yeah, I love this angle as well. Denies the upside down rappel on the meeting windows, all the way from downstairs. And what is the push here from Order? Ooh, here's a player going to that upside down rappel. Surely Campo can't find this. That would be massive. It would be everything, but there's the opening. And a
Bang.
second for Order. Rob, they are running away. Surely Rufflecopter fall to pieces from here.
When things go wrong, they've really just seemed to snowball out of control for Rufflecopter. And, you know, you want to play devil's advocate, Order really have just been so strong. They have continued to impress and continued to keep the heat to a squad that has really shown great promise and great signs. But is it the old guard really holding firm, staying true? Nico once again having an unbelievable standout performance. They're going to go for the plant right now. Joke is going to hold the line with Nico just spraying away into the public bathrooms. My goodness, they have absolutely rinsed them this round, Dev. They're even lucky to have damage. Jack Daddy, that's the first bit of damage that Order have taken, period, throughout the entire round. This is ridiculous. And with Boydie on little less than 5 HP, the second he moves into any line of sight, dead. D-E-D, dead. See you later.
I think that was one of the most abusive and one-sided rounds of Siege I have ever seen. Order had their way with Rufflecopter and Specker. I love this in the chat. How pale were you out of 10? Smoked, flashed, absolutely, completely just sent out of the server. There was no way that Rufflecopter found that one, and no response as well from Rufflecopter in the chat to that little piece of banter from Specker. I have a feeling, Rob, that the mental has just slipped out of Rufflecopter's camp despite that win on map 1. And, you know, as our old mate Specker loves to say, Rainbow Six Siege is 95% mental.
If I hear one more person say that, I'm leaving. I'm done. My career is over. But honestly, though, like, it's so funny to hear that, because I think truly that in this new season, it has, like, in this new season, new meta, I think that it has really rung true that the game is even more about your mental state than it ever has been. You know, you can't hide, right? You can't be the support player that just tries to support the team anymore. You are required to be actively fragging and actively playing your part in that department. And I think it's really started to highlight what Specker said all those many, many moons ago now.
Yeah, I think that with these meta changes, you know, previously the entire Rainbow Six competitive siege revolved around playing behind these power positions, deployable shields with so much utility to keep you safe. And you could really kind of rely on having good strategies to carry you through rounds. But these days, you need to be able to adapt. You need to have crystal clear and perfect communication, and you need to have really strong fragging potential. Every single player, like you're saying, obviously not to discount the work that support players do and the supportive nature of what every player needs to do in Rainbow, which is communicating. Oh! Bouncing! My God, he bounced straight down those stairs and almost lost his life for it.
That's so unfortunate with the timing of that nade being thrown. The rotate hole obviously not being prepped well enough. That almost cost him his life. And Order, once again, just putting themselves in such a great position, Dev. This is really... This has been such a... I'm not going to say a monumental map, but to have been defeated 7-2 little less than a week ago by this same team on this same map, and to have come back and shown such... I don't know, just such a good comeback is probably the easiest way I could put it. It's incredible to see, and certainly something that will be highlighted in the post show, no doubt, by Vinny and the other guys.
I think it's also a testament to how strong Order were on defense. These days, Consulate definitely favors that attacking side. Campo, lovely shot there, but he might not win the refrag. Oh, that was the Gemini. I got you baited.
You got baited so hard.
I certainly did. I think you're meant to refrag the Geminis. You're not meant to have the Gemini go in second.
Yeah,
Oh!
right?
There's one for Nico,
goodness
and he
me.
takes public control. Despite losing that opening, this is actually more important here for Order. The fact that they have public control and the Bart can get to work on the floor. That's really what you need on a Consulate garage attack. There's the claw down as well, so that's going to open up the opportunity for Jackdad to get this wall open. Still 2 Selmas left. Only he can get the right wall, though. That's actually quite a big deal. He can't get the left panel. 30 seconds. Oh, and there's the flank for Bouncin'. Look, Rob, here. I thought Order had the advantage, but this could be Ruffles' back opportunity to get back into it.
Certainly could be, and with Bouncin' still going undetected, Order just have to go straight in here, and there's so much information for Rufflecopter to play. Oh, poor Campo. That got a little bit too close for comfort. Is he going to swing or throw the C4? It's going to be the dry swing. Rufflecopter, they're not going down without a fight. They will need to successfully win 3 rounds, only 2 now, in a row to push this to overtime.
And what's
And
more,
Order just have so much there, Dev. They have so much there.
this is a great lead here for Order, but the fact that Ruffle could at least find their first defense round in 4 rounds or 3 rounds, right? That's pretty big deal. But the problem is here, Rob, Rufflecopter winning that defense, they're now forced off of Garage Cafeteria. That's locked, and the only 2 defenses Ruffle have won have been on that bomb site. They've got to show that they can have a formidable setup here on Tellers and on Lobby in order to take this to OT.
This is not promising, but we will
Protect your bombs from being defused.
pray for Rufflecopter's sake. I mean, this storyline has been good enough as it is. Rufflecopter take down Order on their map pick, which, I think all things considered was a curveball. It was nothing of what we would have expected having a look at the map vetoes. And then, Order allow Consulate to be pushed through. They could have banned it if they'd pleased to, but instead, they've left it through, and for a good reason, obviously. Now, Rufflecopter have already attempted this defense once before, and they are going to need to really fix things here if they wish to make it even possible to see OT. And it has been the conversation about Rufflecopter is how adaptive they are. So don't count them out. Do not count them out.
A trend that I've seen over the course of this game so far that's always stuns me when you notice this, but every single round, all the way through to right now, on this map has been won by the team that found the opening pick. And so consistently these teams are converting that early advantage. Now, even when there are trades, it's clearly not enough. I think it's why Order, they do tend to take their time. While they are trying to act early and take map control when their drones have cleared rooms, they're also really actively trying to suppress the aggression. For example, we've got people sitting outside way back in spawn behind barricades just waiting for aggression from Rufflecopter. And it is panning out, it is working. And if Bouncin could land a shot like this, that would just mean so much. He's been droned so many times, and he dashes away. Once again, if he finds the opening here, honestly, I'm willing to bet that Ruffle will have a strong subsequent rounds.
Oh my goodness. Well, sorry to throw that out the window for you, Dev. But Specker goes hand in hand with Nico in their performances here on map 2. And Ruffle are really with their backs up against the wall. Bouncin was doing a lot of the delaying up on that top floor, and now it's made things a little bit more awkward. Those air jabs as well. If it comes to a retake, which we see so often, there is going to be so little room for Rufflecopter to move.
And just so much good drone work from Order as well. So much good info. Specker loses a lot of HP. Jack Daddy looks for the re-peak. Specker goes down. OJ wants one more. The C4 to support, but it's not enough.
Way.
OJ single-handedly bringing this back for Rufflecopter. Joker has gone down, and Nico's looking for the vertical.
Way.
OJ, 3 kills. Intel is supported by the pulse below. And it looks like Rufflecopter might still be in this game.
Talk about an anchor on site. That's job done. 3 kills as quick as you like. There's 1 C4 left, and it's on Boydie. If they remain down on that bottom site, which it looks like they're going to, with only 20 seconds left, they only have the 1 chance to delay. Are they going to be able to find it now? In comes the plant. Have they prepared it enough? The C4 will be able to find Nico. Jack Daddy remains alive. The air jab rings. That's Campo's position known. And just like that, it's done. It's dusted. And we are going to round number 12, Dev. You've got to highlight the performance from OJ there. My God.
Honestly, fantastic job from OJ to hold out on the side, get that 3K before being punished. Credit to Campo behind the scenes enabling that with the pulse scanner, constantly below, downstairs, and calling out the positions of those approaching enemies. OJ always had info and was prepared to take those fights. And same call for, who was the mirror player? Boydie, I believe it was. Yeah, there you go. And he found the last 2 picks as well. The C4 being fairly instrumental there. But again, it was Campo who was calling out that information using the pulse scanner. And this is highlighting, I think, a lot of the different things that we were talking about earlier. Not just the fact that you have to have good mechanical skill to hold your own in Siege these days, but also you have to have good teamwork. And that was just beautifully demonstrated right there.
It certainly was. You cannot say that these teams haven't put on a show so far, because they are really, they are making this worth every damn penny. And I guess there's just as much on the line for Ruffle as there is for Order. You know that Order are coming into this not wanting to really be taken down by what would be considered to be the lesser team in this occasion. We predicted them, but I think that also we can't take away from the fact that they would usually be the underdogs in this story.
Yeah, well, it's like the difference between Rufflecopter being the rising stars who haven't proven, like, they've literally never played playoffs before. Like, this is a bunch of players who have played for various teams. A lot of these guys former Rhythm players. Obviously, Hotshot having a stint on the now Chiefs roster for a while. Boydie completely fresh. But, you know, these guys haven't really had a season before. They came through open qualifiers and then fought through relegation, knocked Rhythm out, and took their spot. And the contrast is these guys are in form, but haven't really achieved a lot in the past. Order have achieved massive things in the past. And these players have gone to LAN, have almost won championships time and time again, ever the bridesmaids. But they've hit a spat of poor form. And when those two teams meet in the middle, that's where they clash this hard.
So this is the first time we've seen the second floor base defense, sorry, from what I'm aware of, Dev.
Yeah.
Which will certainly... I'm not going to say it's going to twist order. Oh, no! That's perfect! You love to see that from Nico. And Bouncin will be absolutely furious.
Once again, there's patience exhibited by Order as netting them the early picks, and it's fantastic. But that trend I had mentioned of the opening pick being converted to round wins, that was actually broken last round when Specca found the opening, but Ruffle still won. So it's not a golden rule. Ruffle definitely still have a shot in this, but we do need to see some kind of reply. But for now, Order seem to be doing really well here. Half the round gone, and they've got some good map control. And Nico as well, very wary of flanks downstairs. I don't think he'll be caught off guard by Campo.
No, and that's the big issue right now. It felt like Rufflecopter were really relying heavily on Bouncin and Campo for those flanks, for the late round kind of impact. And now with Bouncin gone and Campo spotted, I want to know that there's a much less emphasis on that top floor defense.
Yeah, and Hotshot can only waste too much time here using those gases. He only has one left. That's the last one going out. Still 50 seconds left on the clock. We're just going to need to see some big performances here from the Rufflecopter guys. Winning these entries without getting traded back. That's a big one from Hotshot, and no one traded. Looking for it. That's another that could completely break this round for Order.
No, but Joker's not asking any questions anymore. He's only giving answers. He caught Campo coming up on the flank. That could have completely dismantled Order. And now, Boydie and OJ with it all left to do. The highlighted point right now, Echo still has that ability to deny late round. I don't know whether he's been spotted. Boydie finding the kill onto Joker. Dev, they are going to be able to stop this no matter the cost. The diffuser still hasn't been picked up, so OJ just needs to be careful. And we are going to overtime. What a round 12 we have just had.
An amazing comeback from Rufflecopter. 3 rounds in a row, and they take us all the way to OT. We thought that Order's 4-2 defensive half and strong start on attack would make this a done deal. We thought that the comeback was on for Order and that they were going to take us to map 3, but Rufflecopter aren't messing around. A massive 2K here from Hotshot. As soon as his gas was all gone, he had to go big. And even though it was met straight away with that double kill from Joker, Hotshot had done exactly what he needed. He bought time and he bought that man count for OJ to then eventually just win it on time. Even if that diffuser had been picked up, of course, OJ would have won it with the Yokais. So another fantastic round from Rufflecopter. And it goes to show, like you said, Rob, taking us to console meeting, that was worth it.
Yep, certainly was. Now, that could have completely fallen apart. We should probably highlight that, you know, Hotshot. My goodness, there was so many opportunities for Order to have been able to take that out. Trades not coming in, but we move on. And right now, I am not feeling confident for the Order storyline, you know? The first half, even into the first half of the second half, it was looking so good, you know? They were up 6-3 at one point. And it's very much just being clawed back by pure brute force of Rufflecopter. And as we head into the final 3 rounds, Rufflecopter will get to start on that dreaded defense that I think will finally and maybe put that nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it's so hard to pick which team is going to win this. At this point, I honestly could not commit either way. I definitely thought Ruffle coming in would have the advantage, but Order proved that they clearly have a lot more gas in the tank than we thought when it comes to Consulate. But the fact that, like you said, Ruffle gets the double defense in overtime, and the fact that they've just come off 3 defense wins in a row does put me in a position where I'm starting to look at Order and say, come on, guys, like you've just lost your last 3 attacks. You're about to be reverse swept. You get another shot at attack, and it's attacking that garage site once again, which, mind you, they are yet to win successfully on an attack. This is a tall ask for Order.
So, I mean, the one thing that I've really been enjoying from Order has been their methodical clears. They've definitely played into a slower playstyle from what we've been used to. You know, generally Spec has been either looking for the opening kill or, you know, copping an opening death. A lot of the earlier parts of the round, and recently it's slowed down significantly, and it has allowed them to find themselves in some pretty dangerous positions. Now, like this from Boydie, the longer he can wait here, Dev, the longer he can burn time, the better this gets, and there's only 1:20 left on the clock.
Cutie's jammed out as well. These mute jammers proving really, really effective. They're the boost mute jammers from downstairs. Flashbangs go in. Boydie abused, and surely here's the refrag coming in from Nico, but he finds one, and OJ supports from underneath. This could be it. Finally, there is a refrag from Cutie, but it may well be too little too late.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Oh, perfectly. No, that's the free kill, OJ. Not aware of the vertical line. Speaking of which, the devil has appeared, Dev, and it forms in Bouncing. Only 2 players left for Order to try to win their first basement attack as they start to progress. The side campo from Archives. Joker tries to refrag. My goodness, Rufflecopter, 4 straight rounds, and we are now on that point.
Everything for Order's OCN Stage 1 season has come down to this. They were one of the favored teams this season with wildcard looking weak. It was their chance to shoot for #1, but they couldn't even make top 4 after regulation. They could only sit in 5th place. They would have had to run the gauntlet, and they still will have to come back here in order to have their shot at the OCN Championship. Rufflecopter, the underdogs, coming from an open qualifier, may be about to take down one of the largest organizations in Australian esports and one of the most esteemed teams in the region. All they need to do is close it out right here.
Now, this is a Rufflecopter tactical timeout. These tack pauses have been instrumental throughout this season. There have been so many occasions where momentum is heavily swinging in one direction or the other. Maybe something's gone wrong. You slow it down, you talk. Now, I don't mind this from Rufflecopter. They have the momentum. They have everything in their favor. And they are calling it on the attack for a very specific reason. This basement defense has been an incredibly hard shell to crack. And they are taking their time here, resetting themselves and preparing for what could be 5 rounds straight. Not just to win the map, but to win the series. Unbelievable.
Match point, series point for Rufflecopter. And this is also the point that may well take them into our next round of the gauntlet. Up later today, of course, after this match is the winner versus Bliss, who have had a fantastic season, and both of these teams would be eager to find revenge against. And it looks like Rufflecopter may have that challenge before them, but they need to close it out here. Keep in mind, Rob, like this has been a defensive-sided consulate right here, and Rufflecopter only managed to get attack wins on Tellers and Archives. Now, Order have gone down to Garage, which was arguably their strongest bomb site. In particular, Rufflecopter really struggled when it came to breaching that main wall. Thatcher's banned out, and they haven't been able to clear these electric claws, particularly the one that's on the right-facing wall from outside. Left from your screen is actually in the roof, and it's very difficult to clear even from above due to the concrete that is kind of like right next to it. And I think that's going to be really pivotal here. If Rufflecopter can get that breached early, clear the claw and make some progress on this wall, I honestly think they would be in such a good position to take this. But if not, then we might head to round 15.
And that mute jammer right next to the drone hole to basement, you know, it even makes it harder if it wasn't already for Rufflecopter to get any sort of information onto where those claws are. They know that that's been a problem for them in the past, so it looks like the attention is not there to begin with. It is very much on this roam clear. And I just don't really see a lot of outlines there on the second floor for Order. In fact, it's the first floor. Joker's just holding spiral stairs. The rest of them, from what I can tell,
Where's the
one
fifth?
in basement. There you go,
Oh,
Specker,
yeah.
sorry, in the bathroom. So, big pick.
Certainly is Jack that going down early. I still don't want to call it. I still think that there's a chance here for Order, especially if we can see a big multi-kill come through. Specker, for example. It may well come down to the playmaking, though.
Oh.
As Campo got the Gon 6, keen to take out that Banshee. He's just going to burn any ADSs nearby. And once again, Order haven't reinforced the north-facing public wall, which means Specker's going to be put under the pump in just a moment. He's likely to drop the hatch here, or will he stand his ground? He loses the fight. 5v3 here on series point. Woo! An Order need to get back into this right now.
Once more, could Nico be the hero of the story? Gives them their first trade of the round, and it is on to OJ, who's been performing phenomenally, especially in the last 4 rounds. Has
They're going
come
for a
up
flank.
massively clutch.
They killed
Well,
the flank
if they
watch.
do-
Nomad was
If
the
they
flank
do,
watch.
this will be big, Dev, because it could completely stop this progress to the site.
Oh, Nico at the moment, he's the only player on this flank. Joker went back downstairs to support Cutie, but Nico, all he has is this SMG-11, and someone's watching the angle. Bounce and takes him down, looking for a refrag now, but Rob, it may be over for Order.
It may just be. Joker may still have the last laugh in this instance, though. It's not done just yet. Still, the outward-facing mirror may give Cutie some time to move with here. How much can they really achieve? Cutie pushes around the back of the white van, can't find it. He's met with the open arms of Hotshot and Rufflecopter. Dismiss Order in our very first best of 3 of the OCN playoffs.
And that is Rufflecopter, the newest addition to OCN, punching their ticket to the next round of the Gauntlet. A massive moment in their careers, taking down the old guard, ever the bridesmaids of Order, who will sit out the rest of the playoffs.
Did not think that we would have been saying that, in all honesty, when we started that second map, Dev. Order were looking so strong. They were showing so much promise. That is for 5 rounds straight. 5 rounds straight to give them the win and to, I mean, essentially not allow it to go to a third map, which would have been Oregon, in which case I actually think it may have favored Order again.
I definitely think if Order had won on Rufflecopter's map pick of Consulate, like, that is a serious momentum shift going to Oregon. That's safe as houses for Order. So this is massive. The fact that Rufflecopter locked it out, the mental fortitude to be able to make a 5-round comeback on your map pick, knowing that you bested your opponent on this map not 5 days ago, 7-2. A serious achievement here for Rufflecopter. I can't understate that. And if I'm Bliss, I'm going to be a bit scared, I think.
Yeah, they've been sitting, waiting in the rafters to see who was going to be their opponent. We found out it is well and truly Rufflecopter. They're flying high, but not too high. We're going to go back to the desk for them to break it all down. Xenox, ciao.
Yes, ciao, Manic, ciao. Yes, what a win for Rufflecopter, 2-0, stamping their authority all over Order, despite Order giving it their best effort on console, especially compared to last time, Guz, where it was thoroughly one-sided. This time, Order had an opportunity to send it to Oregon, but full credit to Rufflecopter for fighting their way back into this match.
Yeah, well, we were only 2 rounds into the match, and Order matched their performance from the last time these two went head-to-head on Consulate, and they didn't roll over from there. In fact, Order had match point. They were 6-3 up, and then Rufflecopter just stepped up massively. Rounds 11 and 12 in particular were huge because they were the only 2 rounds in the entire map where the team that got the opening kill did not win the round. So Ruffle really just stepping up to the occasion, and they progressed deeper into that gauntlet.
Yeah, seriously impressive comeback from Rufflecopter. The ability to come back after losing so many rounds in a row, especially on a map that has showed itself to be defender-sided. But when you're 4-2 down, it's hard to keep the mental and the comms up and lively. But it seemed like they were really in control after the half. 5 rounds in a row at the end is seriously impressive.
Yeah, the mental fortitude shown from Rufflecopter kind of gives me inspiration to think that they actually could run the gauntlet. You got this Bliss team that's going to be obviously facing them next, guys, and I would say that Bliss and Ruffle are probably very evenly matched, and then therefore when you actually look at Ruffle coming in 2-0, they're feeling good, they've already been in the lobby. It does probably give them at least a good self-esteem moving forward. But look at the stats though here on console at first before we move on to any sort of talk. And what's intriguing about this one, guys, is again the entry stat favoring the losing team of Order.
That is just insane. 3 players from Order, Nico, Cutie, and Joker respectively, +2 on the entry. And that is a similar theme to what we saw on map number 1. So it doesn't seem to matter whatever the map is. Order just having issues late round, I guess, on those executes. Yeah, it's a damning stat when you're losing, yet your entry is so strong.
And it's kind of been the story of the day, hasn't it? Just getting those entry picks and really working at the beginning of the round to get a good advantage, and then not being able to convert that into a round win. And towards the end of the match, especially in those high pressure situations, they seem to kind of falter. For example, that OJ 4K or 3K, what he got in Tellers was very impressive, but it kind of showed the disconnect on the players pushing one at a time, and that's kind of what happens.
Unfortunately, for Order, that's the final match map statistic that we're going to see with their names on it, because of course they're out of the gauntlet, guys. They're completely finished. Playoffs are done. OCN's done, and APAC is done. Before we move on in terms of celebrating Rufflecopter, I guess final words on Order, and I'll go to you first, Vinny. But has this been a disappointing stage 1 in both competitions for Order?
Yeah, I think this is kind of the point where they try to forget about stage 1. They learn from their mistakes and their losses, but this is kind of the point where they think, okay, next stage, Nico's in. We can start really practicing with him and getting the team on the right track, working together to make sure that next stage isn't anything like this stage. They really want to be putting in better performances. They definitely have the pieces, and they just got to put it all together now.
Yeah, they have the ingredients to create a really impressive team. I think they just need someone at the helm that's really going to point them in the right direction, and they could bounce back in stage 2. The results throughout the regular season in both OCN and APAC South have been extremely volatile, and there's no reason why over the break, which is pretty significant, mind you. I think it's about a month and a half. Plenty of time there to rebound and build some momentum into the season.
Well, let's move over, though, of course, to the celebrations for Rufflecopter. We'll get the lovely Boydie in for a quick chat. And firstly, congratulations, Boydie. You move on. That's 1 team down. Still another 3 or so to go. It's a long gauntlet run. But with that first victory over Order, you got to be feeling as if you can do the whole run.
Yeah, that was a very enjoyable match to play, I'll say. Very close. Very proud of the boys to actually be able to bring it back, keep it calm on the second map, which was very nice to see. All the practice paying off. But, yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask about that second map, Boydie, because obviously you guys were staring down the barrel of match point for a little bit there, but then you managed to take 5 rounds straight at the very end, and even yourself personally had a little bit of a rough start and then came good towards the end. Was there any particular reason that you can attribute that bounce back to?
We found the defense half a lot easier as well. It also helped once I got off 1-9. That definitely helped once I started putting kills on the board. But yeah, just didn't really give them an opportunity to close that around and just kept it together.
G'day, Boydie, mate. Hold on again. Just wanted to ask. It's a pretty simple question. Just going off the current BO3 setup that you're doing in the Gauntlet, how do you feel kind of that affects your playstyle, and from how did that really affect how you play today?
The BO3s, they're a lot more enjoyable to play. We don't really think that we're necessarily better or worse than them at BO1s. We've had a lot less practice at them. Like the only time most of us have played BO3s recently was back in relegations. But we were confident in all the maps we got in the vetoes, and yeah, just.
You obviously don't get much of a break, I guess, all right? So we may see you again later today, but how are you feeling now going into the Bliss matchup? The one thing I want to ask is, do you feel better having played, or would have you preferred to be in Bliss's position where they got to sit back, they got to watch you guys, and now they get to come in fresh?
Won't make too much of a difference, to be honest. Not anticipating as much of a struggle against them, against Order. We did a lot less prep. We didn't think we don't need it. I don't think we will.
Awesome. I guess I think that's it from us. What I'll do is let you get some final words, I guess, but we'll make them short and sweet because we may see you again later if you can get the victory against Bliss.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. All right.
Awesome, Boydie. Well, head back into the lobby in a couple of minutes, and we'll see you in game soon.
Yes, thank you.
Short, sweet from Boydie and Rufflecopter. Cool, calm, collected as always. Lovely interviewee, guys. Well, it's a strange, it's strange times. He's going to get straight back into the lobby. They've got to go now play and prepare for Bliss. Vinny, this is not something that usually happens in the regular season. Would you feel it's, it's something that's a little bit different that might play into the result of the upcoming match?
In this case, no. I think Rufflecopter are a team that have the ability to play long sessions of Siege. I've been part of those rank stacks a few times, and they go for a very long time. So I don't think the amount of Siege they're playing is going to affect them, but maybe just, different play styles from different teams can be something they need to adapt to. Bliss and Order are very different teams, and it'll take something different to take on Bliss.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the duration of playstyle or play time that's really going to hurt them. The one thing that I picked up on in the interview is Boydie's the confidence that Bliss, as he framed it, maybe an easier opponent than Order, and that they didn't have to do as much prep. So some fighting words there will probably come back to bite him if they don't win their upcoming match, but I do like a little bit of confidence.
It's funny he says that, considering the last time that Bliss and Rufflecopter met, it was a Bliss victory as well at that. So, gonna go to a break. When we come back, of course, after the break, we move forward in the gauntlet alongside Ruffle. They'll be taking on Bliss.
Specker finds another one, 3K, and the Specker with the quad! He needs to find this kill. Plant starting to go down. There's one for Campo, and that's the diffuser on the ground. Specker might clutch this again, but the knife! LOL!
A Ruffle, oh no, sorry, Jack. It's all the way down in Bakery. Never mind that.
A Rufflecopter have forced their ways in, and Campo, he can hold!
Winnable.
Taking down one, and he's gonna get up the diffuser.
Oh my God!
Looking. How is
Oh
that
my
happened,
God!
Jack Daddy? So close.
That was a perfect plan. Now the retake must be on.
Oh, Nico! My
my
God!
God!
How does he find both kills there? May be able to get this
Oh,
confirmed.
perfect.
How is Nico swung again and found a double kill? He's gonna find another. It's only on the
You're gonna have to land your shots. Rounding the corner, he can find one, but the double is just not there.
And Order are trying to find something here. What on earth is going on? Dev. Wow.
Rufflecopter claw themselves back in here. Bouncer goes down. Camper has a C4. Does that land? It does, and it's a double as well. OJ wants one more. A C4 to support, but it's not
No
enough.
way.
OJ Copter Joker has gone down, and Nico's looking for the
No
vertical.
way.
OJ 3 kills.